Just because she said you're disgusting, I disappeared without telling anyone. Everyone thought I was just throwing a tantrum, that I would come back on my own once I cooled down. But 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, a month, a year passed, and I never appeared again. I used to think my love for her would never fade, until I saw Lin Hao post a picture. It was a side view of Bai Ningbing cooking in the kitchen. The caption read, "All these years, you're still the only one willing to spend 3 hours cooking for me." The time it was posted was the 3rd anniversary of my wedding with Bai Ningbing. I finally woke up completely. Our 3-year marriage was nothing but a one-sided affair, but when I handed her the divorce papers, she tore them to pieces right in front of me. She cornered me against the wall. "Lin Feng, you want a divorce? Over my dead body." After saying that, Bai Ningbing turned and left without a second glance. It was the same every time we argued. She was always like this. She'd give me the cold shoulder until I bowed my head and admitted I was wrong. When I decided to let go, I realized how pathetic I had been. So pathetic that she wouldn't even bother to console me with a single word. But it won't be like that anymore. The next morning, I had a lawyer draw up the divorce papers. As he was printing them, the lawyer couldn't help but advise me. "Mr. Lin, the Baishi Group is currently worth several hundred billion. You've been with Miss Bai for 3 years, and you even suffered through a secret marriage. It wouldn't be unreasonable to ask Miss Bai for a few hundred million." I gave a bitter laugh. "There's no need. I just want to divorce her as soon as possible." Seeing this, the lawyer didn't press the matter further. He handed me the divorce papers and left. Flipping the divorce papers to the last page, without any hesitation, I signed my name. I took off the ring on my finger and placed it on top of the divorce papers. I stood up and went upstairs to start packing. In less than an hour, I had finished packing. I didn't have many things. I wasn't going to take anything Bai Ningbing bought for me. So 1 suitcase was enough. Taking one last look at the villa I had lived in for 3 years, there was no lingering attachment in my eyes. What doesn't belong to you is useless no matter how hard you try to hold on. It took me 3 years to understand this principle, but it's not too late. I turned and walked out of the villa. Outside, a black Land Rover was already parked. Seeing me come out, he honked once. After I put my luggage away, I opened the passenger door and got in. After I sat down, Zhou Hang raised an eyebrow and asked, "Have you really decided?" My gaze was cold. "I called you, which means I've already decided." Zhou Hang chuckled, speaking as he started the car. "I've wanted you to leave Bai Ningbing for a long time. You worked so hard to heal her leg. I can't believe she'd get involved with that younger brother of yours, who's been abroad. Such a green tea bitch. What's so great about women? You're better suited for a career anyway." Seeing him get angrier as he spoke, and the car speeding up, I couldn't help but smirk. "Calm down. I just escaped the grave of marriage. I don't want to end up in a real one." Seeing that I was still in the mood to joke, Zhou Hang finally breathed a sigh of relief. He asked tentatively, "What are your plans now?" "You'll rest for a while first. How's the company been lately?" Hearing this, Zhou Hang's expression changed. He sighed and said, "Let's talk about this after you've rested." I frowned. From the look on his face, it probably wasn't good, but I wasn't in the mood to take over the company right now either. I nodded and said, "Okay, take me straight to the airport. Where are you planning to go?" "Haven't thought about it. You'll just pick a place when I get there." Zhou Hang sighed inwardly. It seems no matter how capable a person is, when it comes to matters of the heart, they lose their composure. When we arrived at the airport after I got out of the car, I looked at Zhou Hang and said, "Help me take my luggage to the villa in Yushubei, North City. About how long will you be back?" "About a month." "All right, I'll be waiting for you." I waved nonchalantly and turned to walk into the airport. A month later, in the conference room of Bai Shi's Seattle branch, Bai Ningbing was discussing with the department heads the branch's development direction for the next quarter. Her phone suddenly rang. Seeing it was her father, Bai Shuhan, she frowned. As soon as she answered, Bai Shuhan's dissatisfied voice came through the phone. "Ningbing, I've been to the villa to look for Lin Feng several times, but he was never home. Did you two have a fight? Is he intentionally giving me an attitude?" Bai Shuhan's voice was full of dissatisfaction and anger. He already disliked me, and this time his impression of me was even worse. It was only when Bai Shuhan called that she realized I hadn't contacted her for a month. Previously, this would have been impossible. "I'll call him later." "Did you need him for something, Dad?" Bai Shuhan said irritably. "It's your grandmother's birthday soon. I was going to ask him to go with me to pick out a birthday present for her. Who knew I'd be stood up several times? It would have been better if you had married Lin Hao back then. It wouldn't have come to this." Bai Ningbing frowned and cut him off, speaking in a nonchalant tone. "I know. I'll call him. He'll call you back later." After hanging up, Bai Ningbing found my number and called. She called several times in a row, but the line was always busy. Bai Ningbing's face immediately darkened. It was clear I had blocked her number. She suppressed her anger and turned to Kei Jing, saying, "Call Lin Feng." "Yes." Kei Jing's call went through, but no one answered. Looking at Bai Ningbing's increasingly dark face, Kei Jing said stiffly, "President Bai, no one is picking up." Bai Ningbing's face was as cold as ice. "I know. I'm continuing the meeting. You contact the villa's management office." An hour later, as Bai Ningbing stepped out of the conference room, Kei Jing approached, trembling. The villa management said that on the second day after you left for your business trip, Mr. Lin left with a suitcase. Because Bai Ningbing and I had a secret marriage, Kei Jing always called me Mr. Lin. Bai Ningbing never found anything wrong with it before, but at this moment she subconsciously frowned. Forcing down the uncomfortable feeling in her heart, she said coldly, "Go investigate where he is now. Book the earliest flight back home." "Yes." "So, is Mr. Lin Hao coming back with us?" Bai Ningbing was silent for a few seconds before speaking. "You call him." They had only been in Seattle for work for a short time, and Lin Hao had followed them. Ostensibly, he said he was there for a business survey, but everyone at the branch knew that he was there to pursue Bai Ningbing. After a flight of more than 10 hours, the plane finally landed safely at Longcheng Airport. During these 10-plus hours, Keijing had also witnessed Bai Ningbing's attentive care for Lin Hao. After getting off the plane, they all walked towards the airport exit together. In the crowd, Bai Ningbing subconsciously protected Lin Hao. I had gone on business trips with Bai Ningbing before, but throughout the trips, it was always me helping her handle everything. Bai Ningbing's attitude towards me was quite cold. Compared to me, Lin Hao was more like her capable assistant. At the same time, I was walking out from another airport exit. I was wearing a loose sports t-shirt, a pair of sunglasses, a faint smile on my face. I was in a pretty good mood. Joe Hang was already waiting at the airport exit. As soon as he saw me, he waved. Seeing him, smile on my lips grew wider. Pushing the luggage cart, I quickened my pace towards him. However, just as I was about to reach Joe Hang, I noticed Joe Hang's expression was a bit unpleasant as he looked behind me. A hint of surprise flickered in my eyes, and I turned to look back. What I saw was Bai Ningbing and Lin Hao walking side by side towards the airport exit. My hand pushing the suitcase instinctively tightened, but my face showed no expression. Without waiting for Joe Hang to speak, I turned my head to look at him and said, "Let's go." Seeing my calm expression and no flicker of emotion in my eyes, Joe Hang wasn't sure if I had truly let go of Bai Ningbing. The two of them walked out, talking as they went. They didn't notice that a sharp gaze was fixed on us. Noticing Bai Ningbing's unusual behavior, Lin Hao gently patted her shoulder. "Sister Ningbing, what's wrong?" Bai Ningbing retracted her gaze, shook her head and said it was nothing. That figure reminded her of me. But I never wore loose sports t-shirts. The clothes I wore were always the kind that, with just a glance, gave people a very mature feeling. She frowned, looking at Keijing with annoyance. "Still haven't found where he is?" Keijing no longer dared to look Bai Ningbing in the eye and said with her head down, "I will definitely find out Mr. Lin's exact location today." The aura around Bai Ningbing grew much colder. She said coldly, "You take Ah Hao back. I'm going to the villa." It was past 7 p.m. when she arrived at the villa. The villa was pitch black. Opening the door, a wave of dust hit her face. Bai Ningbing instinctively frowned. Before, whenever she came home, the first person she would see was me, with a warm, smiling face. Now she was greeted by darkness. She turned on the living room lights and saw the house was covered in a layer of dust. It was clear that, just as the management said, I really hadn't been back. I had been angry with her before, but I had never stayed away from home for a whole month. Bai Ningbing vaguely had a bad feeling. This feeling peaked when she saw on the living room table the divorce papers and the ring on top of them. Because no one had cleaned for a long time, the divorce papers were covered in a layer of dust. Bai Ningbing picked them up and flipped to the last page, and sure enough, I had already signed. An unprecedented rage welled up inside her. Bai Ningbing clenched the divorce papers, her expression extremely ugly. Just as Bai Ningbing's anger was about to boil over, her phone suddenly rang. "President Bai, we've found Mr. Lin's whereabouts. He's in North City now." Noticing Keijing's hesitation, Bai Ningbing said coldly, "Be clear, where in North City is he?" "In a villa. The owner of that villa is the recently popular actress Qin Mengyao." At this moment, I had also just arrived at the villa. Opening the door to see Qin Mengyao, a flash of surprise appeared in my eyes. "Why are you here?" A smile played on Qin Mengyao's lips, and she spoke gently. "Long time no see. I happen to have a schedule in Longcheng, so I dropped by to stay for a night. I didn't know you were coming. If it's inconvenient, you'll leave right away." Qin Mengyao was one of the artists I used to manage, and also the most hardworking one. I admired her a lot. Even after I stopped managing her, I still found her, a top manager in the industry. Over the years, Qin Mengyao has also become increasingly famous. After learning about Qin Mengyao's family difficulties, I gave her the key to this villa, telling her she could come and stay anytime. Later, I married Bai Ningbing, and I poured all my energy into healing Bai Ningbing's leg, so I forgot about this matter. It's fine, it's getting late now. With your face, everyone will stare if you go out now. Staying at a hotel isn't convenient either. Just leave tomorrow. Seeing that I was about to drag my suitcase upstairs, Qin Mengyao came to my side and said, "Are you planning to move in here?" Her tone held a hint of careful probing, but I didn't notice. I nodded and said, "So, it might not be very convenient for you to stay here in the future." "Mom, I understand. Letting me stay for free for so many years, I'm already very grateful." Seeing her serious expression, I couldn't help but laugh. "You're a movie queen now. You could buy 10 villas like this one." The corners of Qin Mengyao's lips lifted slightly. She had bought the villa next to mine a long time ago, but she still liked this place, because this place held traces of my life. "Coffee? I'm making some." "Sure, but I need to go upstairs and shower first." After I took my luggage upstairs, Qin Mengyao smiled and returned to the kitchen to continue grinding coffee beans. Just as she finished making the coffee, the doorbell rang. She went to the door, and looking through the peephole at the person outside, she was momentarily stunned. It was the president of the Baishi group, Bai Ningbing. But why was Bai Ningbing here? Could she be looking for me? While Qin Mengyao was thinking, Bai Ningbing at the door had lost her patience. She rang the bell several more times. Finally, the door opened. However, the person who opened the door wasn't me, but a woman Bai Ningbing had never met. A cold glint flashed in Bai Ningbing's eyes. The flames of anger in her heart were almost uncontrollable. Where is Lin Feng? Sensing the other party's ill intentions, Qin Mengyao frowned. He's taking a shower? Miss Bai, do you need him for something? Bai Ningbing let out a cold laugh, each word like falling ice shards. I am his wife. What do you think I need him for? A look of astonishment flashed in Qin Mengyao's eyes, and her hand on the doorknob turned white. She was as if struck by lightning, frozen on the spot. Qin Mengyao, you're standing at the door. Before I could finish my sentence, I saw Bai Ningbing opposite Qin Mengyao. I couldn't help but frown. What are you doing here? Bai Ningbing laughed coldly, her gaze falling on me like an icy blade. Did I come at a bad time? Interrupting your good time? My hand drying my hair instinctively tightened, but my expression was calm as I spoke. You must have seen the divorce papers. Whenever you're free, let's go file for divorce. I don't agree to a divorce. Come back with me. Saying that, Bai Ningbing reached out to grab my hand. Qin Mengyao, who was beside me, reacted at this moment and blocked my way. Bai Ningbing looked coldly at Qin Mengyao and said coldly, "Get out of the way if you don't want to be blacklisted." Qin Mengyao faced her coldly, with no fear in her eyes. Miss Bai, if you want to blacklist me, I'm afraid it won't be that simple. Besides, it seems Mr. Feng doesn't want to go with you. So many years in the entertainment industry meant she had quite a few connections. It wasn't like Bai Ningbing could just freeze her career with a single word. A cold glint flashed in Bai Ningbing's eyes, and she took out her phone to make a call. Just then, I, standing behind Qin Mengyao, spoke up. Bai Ningbing, don't drag an innocent person into this. Let's talk. Bai Ningbing put her phone down, but the flames of anger in her heart raged even more fiercely. She looked at me coldly and said, "Feeling sorry for her already? I was only in Longcheng for a month, and you've already started keeping a woman. You're really something." I ignored her and turned to Qin Mengyao, saying, "Qin Mengyao, you go inside first." Qin Mengyao's eyes held a trace of worry, but they were husband and wife, and she had no right to interfere in their matters. Call me if anything happens. After Qin Mengyao left, I turned to look at Bai Ningbing. Just as I was about to speak, Bai Ningbing dragged me outside. "What are you doing?" I was furious. This crazy woman, we're about to get divorced, and she still doesn't have a shred of ladylike grace. How could I have been so blind back then to insist on marrying her? Bai Ningbing's face was stone cold, and she said nothing. She shoved me straight into the car, got in from the other side, and started the car. She drove very fast, and in the blink of an eye, we were halfway up the mountain. I gritted my teeth and looked at her. "Let me out, Bai Ningbing. What's the use of doing this?" "Put on your seatbelt." Bai Ningbing gripped the steering wheel, the veins on her hands bulging. One could imagine how furious she was right now. I didn't move and looked at her indifferently, saying, "Bai Ningbing, when I said I wanted a divorce before, it wasn't in a fit of anger, nor was I just trying to start a fight. I was serious." The sharp pain made her furrow her brows tightly, and she sucked in a cold breath. The black Maybach suddenly stopped on the side of the road. Due to inertia, my head slammed into the windshield. Before I could recover, I heard Bai Ningbing give a cold laugh. "Divorce me so you can be with that vixen. I advise you to give up that idea soon." I held my forehead, my heart filled with anger. "Bai Ningbing, are you crazy? You like Lin Hao? I've already backed off. What more are you unsatisfied with?" Bai Ningbing's face was as cold as ice. "What does this have to do with Ah Hao?" I let out a soft laugh and said mockingly, "How is it not related? Do you dare say he's not the one in your heart?" As soon as my words fell, the two of us fell into silence. After a long time, Bai Ningbing looked at me coldly and spoke. "What right do you have to criticize me? At least I wouldn't do anything to wrong you. But you, staying out all night, in her villa with another woman? What do you mean wrong you? Does it only count as wronging me if I catch you in the act?" Seeing the anger on her face, I suddenly calmed down. I shifted my gaze away and said calmly, "No matter what you say, I am determined to end this marriage. What if I don't agree?" I felt a bit irritated, and a cold glint flashed in my eyes. I didn't want to say another word to Bai Ningbing now. Noticing my attitude towards her was different from before. Bai Ningbing furrowed her brows tightly and was about to speak when her phone suddenly rang. Seeing it was Lin Hao, she glanced at me but still answered the call. "Ah Hao, what's wrong?" "Sister Ningbing, the power's out at the villa. Can you come over?" Lin Hao's voice was trembling slightly. "Don't be scared, I'm coming right now. It'll be okay." After hanging up, she found me looking at her with a mocking expression. For the first time, Bai Ningbing explained herself. "The power is out at the villa. I'm going to Ah Hao's place to check on him. You can catch a cab back yourself." A few seconds of silence. She continued to speak again. "About the divorce. I advise you to give up on this idea soon. I will not agree." My expression was indifferent. I said word by word, "Bai Ningbing, whether you agree or not has nothing to do with me. I don't love you anymore. So I'm determined to get a divorce from this marriage." I pushed open the car door and got out directly. I turned and walked in the opposite direction. The black Maybach stopped in place for a moment. In the end, it still drove in the opposite direction from me. In the car, Bai Ningbing looked at the rearview mirror. My shrinking figure was inside it. Her heart was filled with frustration. I walked back about 100 meters when I received a call from Qin Mengyao. "Feng, where are you?" I could hear the worry in her voice. My heart warmed up a little. "I'm halfway up the mountain, on my way back." "Where's President Bai?" There was no emotion in my eyes. I said with a calm expression, "She left." "So she left you in the middle of the night, alone halfway up the mountain?" "I'm coming to pick you up right now. Wait for me for 5 minutes." She didn't give me a chance to refuse. After saying that, Qin Mengyao hung up. I put my phone away and stood there waiting for Qin Mengyao. When Qin Mengyao arrived, I was standing by the road, bored, kicking pebbles. Hearing the sound of an engine, I looked up and saw Qin Mengyao's car stop in front of me. She pushed open the car door and got out. Seeing that I was okay, she breathed a sigh of relief. She quickly walked to my side, opened the passenger door. "Feng, get in the car." Seeing how thoughtful she was, I couldn't help but smile and tease her. "No wonder so many guys always say they want to be your boyfriend. You're just too thoughtful." The corners of Qin Mengyao's mouth also curved into a smile. "What about you? Do you think I'm suitable to be a girlfriend?" Seeing her nonchalant expression, I knew she was joking, so I played along, nodding and saying, "Very suitable. If you were a girlfriend, you'd definitely be a perfect one." A flicker of disappointment flashed in Qin Mengyao's eyes, but she still smiled and said, "It's a pity the person I like doesn't like me." I gently patted her shoulder to comfort her. What a coincidence. The person I like doesn't like me either. Qin Mengyao couldn't help but laugh and shake her head. "Your attempt at comforting is really terrible. I actually feel even sadder now." "All right, let's hurry back. I have to start work tomorrow." Qin Mengyao raised an eyebrow. "Going back to be my manager? Not that. Besides, you already have a manager. Even if I go back to manage a newcomer, I can't manage you." Qin Mengyao smiled, not saying anything more. Back at the villa, the coffee had long gone cold. I was no longer in the mood for coffee. I wished Qin Mengyao good night and went to my room. The next morning, I got up, washed up, and went downstairs. I saw Zhu Heng already waiting for me in the first-floor living room. I hurried downstairs. "President Zhu, would you consider giving me one more day off?" Zhu Heng let out a cold laugh, like a man-eating demon. He directly threw the stack of documents in his hands into my arms. "You've been resting for 3 years and you still want to rest? Finish reading all these documents on the way to the company. There's a tough battle to fight today." I looked at the documents in my arms, feeling a bit speechless. "So much work on the very first day," Zhu Heng said. "Don't even mention it. In the 3 years you were away, those old foxes nearly turned my upside down. They stuffed all kinds of their relatives into the company. They're all a bunch of parasites who just take money and do nothing all day. If you hadn't come back, the company would have collapsed sooner or later." On the way to the company, Zhu Heng still couldn't restrain his gossipy soul. "By the way, when I came to see you this morning, I saw the newly famous movie Queen Qin Mengyao at your place. You haven't been divorced from Bai Ningbing for long, and you're already keeping a movie queen as a mistress?" My gaze shifted from the documents to his face. I said with a serious expression, "She and I are just ordinary friends. Secondly, Bai Ningbing and I haven't divorced yet, so she's not my ex-wife right now." A look of surprise flashed in Zhu Heng's eyes. "So, without divorcing Bai Ningbing, you've already started keeping a movie queen?" I was speechless. "Did you even pass your literature class back then?" Zhu Heng lifted his chin. "Of course, I was first in my class," I teased. "Were you the only one in your class?" Zhu Heng. "Feng, you better shut up." I didn't say anything more either, bowing my head to continue reading the documents. I hadn't been reading for long when my phone suddenly rang. Seeing it was an unknown number, a hint of doubt flashed in my eyes. Just as I answered, Bai Ningbing's teeth-gritting voice came through. I hung up directly and turned off my phone. I threw the phone to Zhu Heng and said, "Go get me a new SIM card. Cancel this one." Zhu Heng, thinking about how I had just teased him, said sarcastically, "I'm not your secretary. Go find your own secretary." I closed the documents and raised an eyebrow. "Fine. Anyway, I think Maya's beyond saving. Maybe we should just file for bankruptcy directly." Zhu Heng hurriedly said, No, big brother, I was wrong. I'll do it for you right now, okay?" I looked at his fawning appearance and couldn't help but raise an eyebrow. "I was just joking with you earlier, don't take it seriously." Arriving at the first thing I did was call a shareholders meeting. An hour later, the usually arrogant shareholders walked out one by one with pale faces. Their eyes were all filled with anger. Soon, only Zhu Heng and I were left in the meeting room. Zhu Heng gave me a thumbs up, saying with an admiring expression, "President Lin, you are truly impressive. Just now, seeing you scold those old foxes until they were speechless, even I was stunned. I've never seen them so humiliated." I glanced at him indifferently and said with a blank expression, "Immediately make a list of the people that the other shareholders shoved into my and give it to me. We start firing tomorrow." A look of surprise flashed in Zhu Heng's eyes. "So soon? Those old foxes just suffered a loss at your hands today. Their anger hasn't subsided yet. If we touch their people now, I'm afraid it will cause their dissatisfaction." I said, "If anyone has an opinion, Tell them to come to my office to find me. Leaving behind that sentence, I stood up and left immediately. I now had a general idea of my problems. If I didn't resolve them quickly, my probably wouldn't last until next year and would go bankrupt. Returning to the office I hadn't seen in 3 years, I didn't have much time to feel nostalgic. I got straight to work. In less than an hour, the news of my founder returning had spread throughout Longcheng's business circle, but I had never appeared in front of others before. To the outside world, I was very mysterious. Everyone was guessing that his return this time was to pull my back from the brink of bankruptcy, the CEO's office of the Bai Corporation. Bai Ningbing was still trying to contact me, but the other end always reported that the phone was off. Her patience was also gradually running out. Keijing had just stepped into the office when she felt as if she were in a world of ice and snow. Even her steps unconsciously became much lighter. President Bai, our plan to acquire my might have to be put on hold. I heard that the founder of my return today. Bai Ningbing frowned and said somewhat distractedly, "The acquisition plan will proceed. Add another 100 million to the original offer," Keijing said. The founder of my back then in the business world also suddenly established Mai and rose to prominence unexpectedly. Then he suddenly withdrew. This time he's probably back to save Mai. If we're talking about an acquisition, Mai isn't the best choice. Bai Ningbing's expression was indifferent. She said coldly, "Continue with the acquisition. If the money isn't enough, just add more. I don't want to say it a third time. Also, send people to watch the gate of Qin Mengyao's villa. Once Lin Feng appears, let me know." Bai Ningbing's frustration was clearly visible to Keijing. It also gave her a strange feeling in her heart. Bai Ningbing clearly likes Lin Hao, so why won't she divorce the other person to marry Lin Hao? But this was Bai Ningbing's private matter. She couldn't interfere. She could only follow Bai Ningbing's orders. "Oh right, President Bai. The Angel's Tear ring that you won at the auction in Seattle before has been personally delivered to you to be given to Mr. Len." The Angel's Tear ring was a teardrop-shaped blue gemstone as the main stone. The ring was adorned with thousands of diamonds, sparkling under the light, so beautiful it was impossible to look away. At that time, when she first saw it, Bai Ningbing felt it suited me very well. She immediately bid for it, intending to give it to me as a 3rd anniversary gift. Later, because she argued with me, she had forgotten about this matter. She pressed her thin lips together and said with an indifferent expression, "Give it to me. You'll give it to him myself." Keijing brought the Angel's Tear ring to Bai Ningbing's office and then left. Bai Ningbing picked up a file, but she couldn't bring herself to read it. Her mind was filled with the image of my determined expression as I left last night. She slammed the file shut in frustration. This feeling of losing control left her at a bit of a loss. Just as she was about to stand up for some fresh air, her phone suddenly rang. A flicker of anticipation appeared in Bai Ningbing's eyes, but after seeing the name flashing on the phone screen, the expression on her face immediately turned to disappointment. The call was from Lin Hao. As soon as she answered, his cheerful voice came through. "Sister Ningbing, my grandfather's birthday is coming up. My parents have entrusted me with sending out the invitations. Are you free later? I happen to be passing by the Lu Corporation. You'll bring the invitation over to you, and we can have lunch together," Bai Ningbing said indifferently. "Okay." After putting down the phone, the frustration in Bai Ningbing's heart did not lessen at all. Instead, it grew with a few more shades of cruelty. She still couldn't read the documents in her hand. She hadn't expected me to be so determined this time, to be so heartless as to not contact her. A knock sounded from outside the office. Keijing walked in with a file, her expression serious. "President Bai, I just received news. It seems the land in the East City is about to be auctioned off early." Bai Ningbing's expression hardened, and she immediately said, "Go inform the person in charge and the shareholders of this project. Meeting in 5 minutes." When Lin Hao arrived, Bai Ningbing was still in a meeting. The one who received him was Keijing. "Mr. Hao, the president's meeting just started not long ago. She told me to take you to her office to wait." Lin Hao smiled. "Thank you." After leading Lin Hao into Bai Ningbing's office, Keijing said, "If you need anything, just call me," and then left. After the door closed, Lin Hao walked over to Bai Ningbing's desk. Just as he was about to place the gold-plated invitation on the desk, the corner of his eye caught sight of a red brocade box next to the desk. His movement paused involuntarily. One look at the box and he knew it was for jewelry. Thinking that his own birthday was also approaching, could it be a birthday present Bai Ningbing had prepared for him? After a moment's hesitation, Lin Hao picked up the brocade box. After all, it was something she bought for him. A little peek shouldn't hurt, right? As he thought this, he opened the box. The ring from the Seattle auction came into view. The ring that Bai Ningbing had bought. At the time, he had asked her what she planned to buy, but she hadn't said anything. Only now did he realize that she had wanted to give him a surprise. Lin Hao's mood suddenly became very good. The corners of his mouth curved up. He closed the box and put it back in its original place. When Bai Ningbing returned after her meeting, it was already an hour later. Seeing Lin Hao, a hint of guilt flashed in her eyes. "I had a sudden meeting just now." Lin Hao smiled and stood up. "I understand. I just ordered food. It should be arriving soon." "Oh right, I left the invitation on the table. Grandfather's birthday is next Saturday. If you're free then, please come and attend." Bai Ningbing frowned. "I have to go on a business trip in 2 days. I might not be back in time for Saturday." Lin Hao hummed in acknowledgement and said, "By the way, Has my brother been in contact with you recently? Every time I call him, his line is busy. Do you know where he is? At the mention of me, Bai Ningbing frowned, and her voice turned a few shades colder. What are you looking for him for? Lin Hao pursed his lips and said with a worried expression, You know how it is. My brother's relationship with the family isn't very good. He was only brought back when he was 16. After that, he always felt that our parents favored me. A while ago, he seemed a bit unhappy. It just so happens that next Saturday is grandfather's birthday. I want to ask him to come back, to use grandpa's birthday as an opportunity to reconcile his relationship with the family. A few seconds of silence. Bai Ningbing said with an icy expression, You'll tell him about this. Seeing that Bai Ningbing didn't seem to want to talk about it anymore, Lin Hao didn't bring it up again and changed the subject. I had just finished the plan when I received a call from Lin Zhen. Next Saturday is your grandfather's birthday. You're to come back for it. I pursed my lips. My cold voice spoke up. I've recently found a job. I might be very busy. I'm not sure if he'll have time. The words had barely left my mouth when Lin Zhen's angry voice came through. What could be more important than your grandfather's birthday? No matter what, you must come next Saturday. It would be best to come with Bai Ningbing. The Lin family was no longer what it used to be. A month ago, Old Master Lin had instructed Lin Zhen that Bai Ningbing must attend his birthday party. That way, they could intimidate others and make them not dare to plot against the Lin family. I thought for a moment. The matter of me and Bai Ningbing getting a divorce really needed to be told to them directly to avoid any future trouble. Okay, I understand. I'll try to make time to go then. Lin Zhen didn't say anything more and hung up directly. Shu Ru, somewhat dissatisfied with his action, frowned and said, You already had Ahio go deliver the invitation to Bai Ningbing. Why did you have to mention it to Lin Feng again, towards the son who, since childhood, had not grown up by her side? Even though Lin Hao and I looked 70–80% alike, Shu Ru really couldn't bring herself to like me. That year she gave birth to Lin Hao and me, not long after her postpartum confinement. A person the Lin family had always trusted very much, a feng shui master, suddenly came to their door personally. He said that if I stayed in the Lin family, I would cause the Lin family to be ruined. After long consideration, the Lin family finally decided to abandon me at the gate of an orphanage. Who would have thought that at the age of 16, Lin Hao would suddenly fall ill? The tests on everyone in the Lin family were unsuccessful. They had no choice but to find me and bring me back. Because we were twins, my genes and Lin Hao's were highly compatible. The test was finally successful, and I donated my bone marrow to Lin Hao. They kept me in the Lin family just like that, but every time they saw me, everyone in the Lin family would still remember the words of that feng shui master. It was a thorn in their hearts, and their attitude towards me was very cold, especially Shu Ru. Knowing I was adopted by a rural family in a remote area, she felt I was covered in the stench of the countryside. Standing next to Lin Hao, whom she had doted on for over 10 years, made her feel uncomfortable just looking at me. Later, I never listened to her, so every time Xuru spoke to me, she would get angry before 2 sentences were out. Our relationship grew worse and worse. Now just the mention of my name makes Xuru unable to contain her disgust. Lin Zhen glanced at her and said coldly, Don't you forget right now, Xiaofeng is Bai Ningbing's husband. Shu Rou snorted disdainfully. If Ahao hadn't gone abroad that year, he would have never had the chance to marry Bai Ningbing. Anyway, now that Ahao is back, and Bai Ningbing doesn't like him, I think it's better to let them divorce soon and marry Ahao. That would be better for everyone. Hearing this, Lin Zhen frowned. He couldn't help but start thinking about this matter in his heart. Every time he called to suggest that I sweet-talk Bai Ningbing so that Bai Ningbing would help the Lin family, I always refused. This also made him very unhappy. Having been married to Bai Ningbing for 3 years, we still didn't have any children. If they really divorced and she married Lin Hao, it would be beneficial and not harmful to the Lin family. But Lin Zhen was quite cautious after all. Before he understood Bai Ningbing's thoughts, he wouldn't act rashly. Let's talk about this later. I'm warning you. Before I agree, don't you dare say nonsense in front of Xiaofeng. Otherwise, if you mess things up, I won't let you off. Shu Rou's face changed. Then she said resentfully, I know. They'll divorce sooner or later anyway. I can't be bothered to be the bad guy. After a moment of silence, Lin Zhen said softly, You should treat Xiaofeng a little better sometimes. After all, we owe him. A flash of disgust appeared in Shu Rou's eyes. She said coldly, If you want to treat him well, you do it yourself. Don't drag me into it. I only acknowledge Lin Hao as my son. Please don't forget the feng shui master from before. Then, Lin Zhen coldly cut her off, his eyes full of anger. If I hear you talk about this again, don't blame me for turning hostile. Zhu was yelled at by Lin Zhen until her face turned pale. She only came to her senses after Lin Zhen stormed off angrily. There was a little fear in her heart. At the same time, her disgust for me grew even stronger. If it weren't for me, there wouldn't be so much trouble now. In the evening, after work, I was just about to leave when Zhu Heng strode in aggressively. Feng, any plans for tonight? I looked at him indifferently, going home. Zhu Heng grinned and raised an eyebrow at me. Going home is so boring. Tonight, to celebrate your return to Mai and your impending escape from the grave of marriage, I've booked a table at Mies Bar. I heard they recently got a new batch of female models. It'll take you to experience it. I looked at Zhu Heng with a half smile. Are you taking me to experience it, or do you want to experience it yourself? After dinner, the two of us went to the bar. As soon as we entered, a deafening sound blasted in my ears. Ju Heng led me directly to the second floor. The second floor had more private rooms. There were closed rooms and transparent glass rooms, convenient for watching the crowd dancing on the dance floor below. The disadvantage was the lack of privacy. Whatever people did inside could be seen from the outside. Entering a transparent glass room, the drinks and the female models we ordered arrived quickly. Seeing the two charming female models in front of us, Zhu Heng looked at me and said with a smug expression, "Feng, I didn't lie to you, did I? Which one do you like? After you choose, I'll take the remaining one." My indifferent gaze swept over their faces. He smiled at Chu Heng and said, "How about I give both to you? You seem to like them both quite a bit." Chu Heng said, "How can I do that? We should share our fortunes. Let's do this. The one closer to you sits with you, and the one closer to me sits with me." The two models were very perceptive. As soon as Chu Heng finished speaking, they went over and sat down next to Chu Heng and me, respectively. "How should I address you, sir? My name is Yue. Is there anything you need me to do?" The woman's flirtatious gaze landed on my face, her heart filled with irrepressible excitement. She had never met such a handsome client before. Moreover, you could tell at a glance that he was naturally handsome. She had really hit the jackpot tonight. I glanced at her indifferently, my tone a bit cold. "You don't need to do anything. Just sit here quietly." Yue was stunned for a moment, a flash of surprise in her eyes. But she was professionally trained and quickly composed herself. She smiled and said, "Then let me sing a song for you. I'm a pretty good singer." I nodded. Yue quickly chose a song. A clear and melodious tune filled the room. Across from me, Chu Heng was already with the other model, feeding each other fruit. Watching them, I couldn't help but feel my face flush. I quickly turned my head away, focusing on listening to Yue sing. When Yang Zixuan passed by my and Chu Heng's room, she happened to glance inside. Immediately, her whole face lit up with surprise. The fact that Bai Ningbing and I had a secret marriage, aside from the Lin and Bai families, a few of Bai Ningbing's close friends also knew. She just never expected that I, the person who was always so proper in Bai Ningbing's words, would also come to a bar. She couldn't help but curl her lips. There would be a good show to watch this time. Averting her gaze, she quickly walked into an adjacent room. As soon as she pushed the door open, Jingdi's cheerful voice sounded from inside. "Zixuan, you're over half an hour late. You're paying for tonight's drinks." In the room, besides Jingdi and Qi Yunji, there was also Bai Ningbing, who exuded a stranger's stay-away aura, drinking with a cold expression. Other than Bai Ningbing, everyone else had a scantily clad handsome man sitting with them. Yang Zixuan closed the door, also shutting out the deafening music from outside. She walked over and sat down beside them, glanced at Bai Ningbing and spoke. "Guess who I just saw outside?" Jing Dai looked curious. "Who did you see? Stop being so mysterious. You're so late. You're lucky we're not making you down 3 shots. And you're still dragging things out." Yang Zixuan said, "You all definitely won't believe it if I say it. I saw Ningbing's husband." The moment she finished speaking, Bai Ningbing's drinking motion froze. Her icy gaze turned towards Yang Zixuan. "Are you sure?" Yang Zixuan nodded with a smug look. He was with a friend. They each even called a model. When I passed by, he was staring at the model who was singing. "Ningbing, it looks like you're being cheated on." Before she could finish her sentence, Bai Ningbing slammed her wine glass on the table, stood up, and quickly walked out. He's really something else. Not only did he ask me for a divorce, block me, but he also dares to go to a bar to find female models. His nerve is getting bigger and bigger. Yang Zixuan looked at Bai Ningbing's retreating back in confusion, then looked at Jingdi and Qi Yunji beside her. Doesn't she like Lin Hayo? Why did she react so strongly to hearing that Lin Feng called for female models? Jingdi shrugged. Even if she doesn't like Lin Feng, the two of them are still husband and wife right now. Her husband is openly cheating on her. If it were you, could you accept it? In my opinion, Bai Ningbing's actions have nothing to do with whether she likes him or not. It's simply that she can't stand her own man, publicly flirting with another woman. Beside them, Qi Yunji's eyes flickered, and her hand hanging by her side unconsciously clenched. She lifted the wine glass in front of her and downed it in one go. "Oh right, do you all know who Lin Feng's friend is this time? If I tell you, you'll definitely be surprised." Jingdi seemed a bit uninterested. Hearing the name Chu Heng, Jingdi's expression became extremely ugly. She gritted her teeth and asked, "Who did you say?" Yang Zixuan said, "Chu Heng, the one whose family went bankrupt a few years ago. We used to attend parties together. What's wrong?" Jingdi let out a cold laugh. "It's nothing. I was just asking casually." After saying that, she hugged the handsome man beside her, took out her phone and snapped a selfie. Then she posted it on her Moments. The handsome man's eyes flashed with pleasant surprise, his flirtatious eyes looking at Jingdi. Jingdi looked at him coldly. "Don't misunderstand. I just want to show it to a certain someone." The handsome man's face turned pale. He knew he had been wishful. Bai Ningbing went outside and scanned the area. Sure enough, she saw me in a glass-walled room. Seeing me feeding fruit to the woman beside me, my fingers almost touching her lips, the anger in Bai Ningbing's heart immediately flared up even more fiercely. In the room, Chu Heng saw that I was still gloomy and suggested we play a game of truth or dare. I lost. Chu Heng made me feed fruit to the model beside me. Just as I put the piece of fruit in my hand into the model's mouth, the room door was suddenly pushed open. A bone-chilling voice carrying extreme anger came from the doorway. Lin Feng. Everyone in the room turned to look, only to see Bai Ningbing's icy gaze fixed on me. Her deep eyes were now filled with a raging fire. My eyes flashed with surprise. I didn't expect to run into Bai Ningbing here. After a moment, I calmly averted my gaze and nonchalantly raised the wine glass in front of me for a sip as if nothing had happened. Seeing me ignore her, Bai Ningbing's face turned pale with anger. She took a few steps to my side, grabbed my arm tightly with one hand, and dragged me outside. Chu Heng's eyes turned cold. He quickly blocked Bai Ningbing's path. He said coldly, "President Bai, what are you doing? Brother Feng is my friend. If you want to take my friend away, President Bai, shouldn't you at least give an explanation?" Bai Ningbing's expression was cold. The patience in her eyes had run out. Seeing the two of them in a standoff, I knew that if he confronted her, Chu Heng would definitely be at a disadvantage. I pursed my lips and said, "I'm fine. He'll be right back." Chu Heng looked at me worriedly. "Brother Feng, don't worry. She won't do anything to me." As soon as the words left my mouth, Bai Ningbing pulled me out. I stumbled and nearly fell. Chu Heng watched, unable to suppress the anger in his heart. Brother Feng must be blind. Otherwise, how could he fall for a woman like Bai Ningbing, who has no ladylike grace at all? Not until she had dragged me to the end of the corridor did Bai Ningbing let go of my arm, questioning me in a cold voice. "Lin Feng, do you know you're a married man? Yesterday you were ambiguously involved with Qin Mengyao, and today you've run off to a bar to play with female models. Do you think I haven't been cheated on enough?" I rubbed my wrist where she had squeezed it painfully and said calmly, "If you keep dragging this out and not signing the divorce papers, you'll be cheated on even more in the future." Bai Ningbing let out a cold laugh. "If you dare to get involved with another woman, I will definitely make you regret it." I chuckled when I heard that, looking at her without a care. "I'd also like to know how you plan to make me regret it. By threatening me with the Lin family? Don't forget, beloved Lin Hao is also a member of the Lin family. If you do anything to harm the Lin family, he will surely be heartbroken. Would you have the heart to let him be heartbroken?" Bai Ningbing's expression changed. Not because I mentioned Lin Hao, but because she suddenly realized that if I was truly determined to leave her, she really had nothing to make me stay. For a moment, a flicker of panic flashed in Bai Ningbing's heart, but very quickly, that flicker of panic was overwhelmed by a towering rage. "I've already explained to you. Ahio and I have done nothing to wrong you." My eyes flashed with impatience. I said coldly, "Bai Ningbing, you don't need to explain to me. I don't care about your sordid affairs. I just want to know when you plan to get a divorce." Seeing my indifferent expression, the frustration in her heart welled up again. Whenever we met, all I could talk about was divorce. She had already condescended to explain to me, yet I didn't care at all. The more Bai Ningbing thought about it, the angrier she got. With one hand, she held my chin and leaned in to kiss me. She wanted to use that to shut my thin, annoying lips. I didn't expect Bai Ningbing to do that, not until I felt the warmth on my lips. The next second, I forcefully pushed Bai Ningbing away and slapped her across the face. Smack! The crisp sound of the slap echoed between us. The atmosphere immediately dropped to a freezing point. Bai Ningbing looked at me coldly. My face was full of disgust, and the act of wiping my mouth enraged her even more. "Lin Feng, you dare wipe it again?" I gave her a cold glance and said emotionlessly, "If you were bitten by a dog like I was, you'd probably be taking a shower by now." Bai Ningbing felt a wave of anger rush to her head. Before, I always spoke gently and softly. My tone was never this sharp. She wasn't sure if I had really been pushed to the edge, or if I had always been like this, and had just hidden it too well before. I checked the time, no longer patient enough to deal with Bai Ningbing, and said coldly, "I have to go to work tomorrow. If you have nothing else, I'm leaving." After speaking, I didn't even look at Bai Ningbing's expression and turned to leave. Stop Bai Ningbing stepped in front of me, blocking my way. "When did you find a job? What's it to you?" Bai Ningbing tried to suppress the anger in her heart and gritted her teeth. "Don't forget, we are husband and wife." I acted nonchalantly. "Not for much longer. Lin Feng, my patience has its limits." Seeing Bai Ningbing's forbearing expression, I found it a bit amusing. "You can choose to divorce, then you won't have to endure it anymore. I've said I won't agree to a divorce, then just endure it." Just as the atmosphere between me and Bai Ningbing dropped to a freezing point, a gentle voice sounded from the side. "Ningbing, Mr. Lin, why aren't you two in the room?" I turned my head and clearly saw Qi Yunji standing not far away. The coldness on my face faded a little. I curled my lips into a smile. "You guys go on and have fun. I won't disturb you anymore." In front of Qi Yunji, Bai Ningbing didn't block me anymore. It was only after my figure had disappeared into the distance that she looked at Qi Yunji indifferently. "Why did you come out? To use the restroom? I saw you and Mr. Lin arguing, and was afraid you two would fight." After a 2-second silence, Qi Yunji continued, "Ningbing, Mr. Lin is actually a very good person. For the 2 years you were injured, he was always by your side taking care of you. Even if you don't like him, you should at least treat him a little better." An icy look filled Bai Ningbing's eyes. She said, word by word, "I know what I should do. I have something else to do tonight. So I'm not going back in. Tell Zixuan and Jingdi for me. This round is on me." After Bai Ningbing left, Qi Yunji stood there for a moment before returning to the room. After that scene with Bai Ningbing, Chu Heng and I were no longer in the mood to stay. We paid the bill and left the bar early. After calling a designated driver for Chuhang, I stood by the roadside to hail a cab. While waiting for the car, I bowed my head and thought, starting tomorrow, I'll drive to work. Suddenly, a black Maybach stopped right beside me. I didn't look closely, thinking it was the car I had called that had arrived, so I opened the door and got in. It wasn't until I smelled the familiar woody scent that I turned my head in astonishment. Seeing the woman sitting beside me, I frowned and turned to open the door to get out. The lighting was poor just now, so when I got in, I basically didn't notice there was someone in the back seat. Bai Ningbing grabbed my wrist with one hand and said coldly to Shengjing. The driver started the car. I looked at Bai Ningbing coldly. Can you let go of me now? At this moment, my heart was filled with frustration. If I hadn't been lost in thought just now, I wouldn't have made such a basic mistake. Uncle Wang locked the car doors. With a click, Bai Ningbing also let go of my arm. I looked at her indifferently. I tried to keep my voice calm and said, Bai Ningbing, I really have to go to work tomorrow. I don't have time to go crazy with you. Bai Ningbing frowned and said coldly, I was drinking just now. Come home and take care of me tonight. My eyes flashed with impatience. You can call Lin Hao. I'm sure he'd love to personally take care of you. The words take care, I intentionally emphasized them heavily. I didn't believe Bai Ningbing couldn't understand my meaning. Bai Ningbing let out a cold laugh. You're quite generous now. After all, is Lin Hao my husband? Or are you my husband? I spoke with a nonchalant expression. The things a husband should do and shouldn't do, he's done them all. The only thing you two are missing is a marriage certificate. Bai Ningbing stared at my face, wanting to find a hint of sadness in my expression. But there was none. I truly didn't care anymore. For some reason, a sharp pain rose from the bottom of Bai Ningbing's heart. She turned her face away and said coldly, as long as we're not divorced, you still have the duty to take care of me. I felt a bit annoyed and couldn't be bothered to deal with Bai Ningbing. I took out my phone, unblocked Lin Hao, and sent him a message. Lin Hao had just finished showering and was about to go to bed when he received my message. His face immediately turned pale. Lin Feng, that petty man? Lin Hao quickly got up, changed his clothes, and went downstairs. He happened to run into Father Lin and Mother Lin returning from a party. Seeing him about to go out, both of them couldn't help but frown. Ahao, it's so late. Where are you going? Lin Hao forced a smile and said to Mother Lin, Mom, Sister Ningbing is drunk. She's at home alone right now. I'm worried about her, so I'm going over to check on her. Mother Lin glanced at Father Lin, saw that his face was expressionless, and then smiled at Lin Hao, saying, It's too late now. It's not safe for you to drive alone. You'll have Uncle Chen drive you. That would be great. After Lin Hao left, Mother Lin said thoughtfully, It seems Bai Ningbing still has feelings for Ahao. Otherwise, she wouldn't even tell Ahao that she was drinking. Father Lin nodded. Tell Ahao to seize the opportunity. It just so happens that Bai Ningbing's marriage to Lin Feng isn't widely known, so it won't affect finding him another marriage match later. To Father Lin, whether it was me or Lin Hao, marrying Bai Ningbing didn't matter, as long as it could bring benefits to his company. As for after Bai Ningbing and I divorce, he would find me another wife who could bring benefits to the Lin family. No one spoke the entire way. When we arrived at the villa's entrance, seeing the lights on inside, Bai Ningbing couldn't help but frown. Besides her and me, basically, no one else came to this villa, especially this late at night. Did you come back today? My expression was calm, and I said indifferently, You'll know as soon as you open the door. Bai Ningbing entered the password, and as soon as she opened the door, she saw a tall figure. Her gaze instinctively turned cold. Lin Feng, what is the meaning of this? Lin Hao had just finished making hangover soup, and had just placed it on the table, when he heard Bai Ningbing's voice from the door. Outside the door, Bai Ningbing glared at me angrily, her heart sinking. She didn't expect me to go this far, calling Lin Hao to our home. My expression was indifferent, and I said emotionlessly, Didn't you say you were drunk? So I helped you call the person you've been longing for day and night to take care of you. You should be thanking me. Say that again. Seeing Bai Ningbing's incredulous expression, I was in no mood to humor her any longer, and said coldly, I've already called the person for you. I won't stay here and disturb your private moment. Just sign the divorce papers and express mail them to me. I turned and left decisively, showing no sign of reluctance at all. Bai Ningbing was furious and was about to give chase when her arm was suddenly pulled back. Sister Ningbing, I made you some hangover soup. Come in and have some. Looking at Lin Hao's cautious and reserved expression, Bai Ningbing frowned, pulled her hand away and said, Ahao, you should go home first. Lin Hao shook his head. Sister Ningbing, I'm not leaving. I'll stay here with you. My brother messaged me saying you were drunk. I'm not comfortable leaving you here alone. Bai Ningbing's expression hardened, her voice dropping a few degrees. It was Lin Feng who told you the password to the villa, wasn't it? Seeing Bai Ningbing's face darken, Lin Hao quickly said, If you don't like me coming here, I won't come again next time. Please don't be angry. Bai Ningbing closed her eyes and said in a low voice, Ahao, I want to be alone for a while. I'll stay by your side quietly. I won't disturb you. I'll have Uncle Wang take you home. Sister Ningbing, be good. Lin Hao bit his lower lip and reluctantly nodded. All right then. Then if you feel unwell, you must call me. Okay. After Lin Hao left, Bai Ningbing closed the door and entered the living room. Seeing the divorce papers still on the table, a cold glint flashed in her eyes. She strode to the table, grabbed the divorce papers, tore them to shreds, and threw them in the trash. Want a divorce? In your dreams. The next evening, as I got off work and arrived at the villa in Chengbei, I was stopped by Bai Ningbing. She looked at me coldly. Lin Feng, even if you want to cause trouble, there should be a limit. Staying at another woman's house every day? Where do you put the dignity of the Lin and Bai families? I let out a cold laugh. Do you have the nerve to say that to me? When you and Lin Hao had a private date in our bridal chamber, did you think about the dignity of the Lin and Bai families? Bai Ningbing's eyes were full of impatience.
I've already told you, Aheo and I haven't had any kind of physical relationship. Whether it happened or not has nothing to do with me. We're getting divorced soon anyway. I've already torn up the divorce agreement. Let's just say you were just speaking out of anger. Come back with me now. I can pretend that nothing happened. I frowned. Bai Ningbing, why do you refuse to get a divorce? Have you fallen in love with me? Hearing that, Bai Ningbing's expression turned icy. She looked at me with a mocking expression. Do you think that's possible? If it's not possible, then stop holding on to me. While we're still young, let's divorce early so I can find someone else. Seeing my somewhat impatient expression, a chill enveloped Bai Ningbing's entire body. Her eyebrows furrowed involuntarily. You want to find someone else? Of course. I looked at her with an indifferent expression. Being with you is no different from being single. I have to find my own happiness. An unknown fire ignited in Bai Ningbing's heart, impossible to extinguish. She clearly knew she didn't love me, but I could still easily provoke her anger. Her beautiful face darkened, each word seeming to be ground out from between her teeth. Fine, if you want a divorce, you have to compensate me for the lost years of my youth. Seeing my "are you crazy" expression, Bai Ningbing said coldly. 50 million. If you can compensate me, I'll agree to the divorce. I was silent for a few seconds, looking at Bai Ningbing with a serious expression. Are you sure that if I give you 50 million, you'll divorce me? But you can't use the money I gave you. For the past few years, I've lived and eaten at the Bai family home. When we got married, she gave me a black card with no limit, but I never used it. On her birthday, the gifts I gave her were all handmade. So Bai Ningbing felt that I definitely couldn't have that much money. I was silent for a few seconds, then nodded and said, I agree to your terms. I'll only give you 1 week. If you can give me 50 million in a week, then don't mention divorce again. I frowned. Bai Ningbing, aren't your conditions a bit too harsh? Bai Ningbing let out a cold laugh. You were the one making a fuss about getting a divorce. Now I'm giving you this chance and you're not happy. Lin Feng. I'm starting to suspect you're just playing hard to get. I rolled my eyes and said coldly, 1 week it is. Can you disappear now? Seeing the impatience in my eyes, Bai Ningbing continued. Before we get divorced, you have to move back in. Bai Ningbing, don't push it. Bai Ningbing let out a cold laugh. You call this pushing it? I haven't even forced you to fulfill your husbandly duties yet. I gritted my teeth. In your dreams, come back with me, or I'll stay here with you. You choose. I took a deep breath. Thinking it was just for a week, I could endure it. I turned and walked straight towards the Maibach on the side of the road. Bai Ningbing called out to me. Aren't you going to pack your things? My expression was indifferent. I'll be back in a week. No need to pack. Bai Ningbing's face darkened, and she got into the car with a cold expression. She didn't speak to me either, picking up her documents to continue reading. Beside her, I casually glanced at the documents in her hand, and my expression suddenly changed. You want to acquire my? Bai Ningbing frowned, her cold eyes looking at me. Weren't you uninterested in my company's affairs before? A hint of mockery flashed in my eyes. As if you would have told me even if I were interested. Remembering that I had mentioned getting a job last night, Bai Ningbing looked at me and said, You've already joined my? Yeah, so I advise you to quickly give up on the plan to acquire my. You won't succeed. Bai Ningbing's expression was indifferent. She spoke up. As long as I pay enough money, nothing is impossible. Then you can just try. Even if she paid more, I couldn't sell my. Bai Ningbing kept feeling that my attitude was a bit off, but she didn't think too deeply about it. She probably thought that since I just joined my, I didn't want the company to go bankrupt. What's your job at my? I'm a janitor right now. Seeing she didn't believe me, I said nonchalantly, If you don't believe me, then don't. Cleaning up the useless parasites in the company, isn't that what a janitor does? After a few seconds of silence, Bai Ningbing suddenly spoke. The people at my should get new glasses. Otherwise, they wouldn't have given this job to you. I snorted coldly. A dog's eyes always look down on others. Just because you can't do it, you think others can't either. Bai Ningbing raised an eyebrow. I'm a dog, and you're my husband. So what does that make you? I turned my head away, clearly not wanting to pay attention to Bai Ningbing anymore. Seeing my angry appearance, Bai Ningbing somehow found me a little cute and handsome. Her voice unconsciously softened a bit. Next Saturday is your grandfather's birthday. I'll go with you then. I thought for a moment, nodded and said, It's a good time to announce our divorce to them. A cold glint flashed in Bai Ningbing's eyes. She looked at me with an icy expression. Are you going to celebrate Grandpa's birthday or to make him angry? I looked at her with a puzzled expression. Frowning, I said, We have to tell them sooner or later anyway. There's no point in dragging it out. Bai Ningbing let out a cold laugh. You should gather the 50 million first before you say anything. Her tone carried a hint of mockery, clearly not believing I could gather 50 million. I lowered my eyes and said no more. An hour later, the car stopped in front of the villa. I went to the door to enter the password, but it showed the password was incorrect. I frowned and turned to look at Bai Ningbing a few steps away. Frowning, I said, "Did you change the password?" "Yeah, I changed it to your birthday." My eyes flickered, looking at her with a mocking expression. "Is it your birthday or Lin Hao's birthday? You know it well in your heart." I turned back to enter the password again and pushed the door open to enter. Bai Ningbing frowned at my back, a flash of anger in her eyes. When she changed the password, she was indeed thinking of changing it to my birthday. She completely forgot that I and Lin Hao were born on the same day. I walked to the sofa and sat down. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw the divorce agreement torn up by Bai Ningbing thrown in the trash. My gaze paused, then I nonchalantly looked away as if nothing had happened. Bai Ningbing walked over and stood opposite me, her face having returned to its previous cold expression. "What's for dinner tonight?" I waved my phone. "I'm ordering takeout. You can do whatever you want." As soon as I finished speaking, Bai Ningbing couldn't help but frown. "Takeout isn't nutritious. I didn't ask you to eat it. My point is, you can eat it either." I was looking down, scrolling through a food delivery app, but I paused when I heard that. I looked up at Bai Ningbing, full of dissatisfaction. "If I don't eat takeout, what will I eat? Eat air? Cook for yourself." I was silent for a moment, then said nonchalantly, "I'm not free. If you want to eat, go cook for yourself." Bai Ningbing said nothing and got up to walk towards the refrigerator. Seeing this, a flash of surprise crossed my eyes. I had only said it casually. I didn't expect Bai Ningbing to actually do it. I quickly regained my previous emotionless expression and directly ordered the fried chicken I had chosen. Then I went upstairs to shower. I didn't go into the master bedroom, but went to the guest bedroom next door. The guest bedroom also had its own toilet and bathroom. After showering, I went downstairs and waited for a while, but the fried chicken hadn't arrived yet. I checked, and the delivery app said it had been delivered. I called the delivery person and was told the food had been delivered 20 minutes ago. I frowned, stood up and looked around, and finally saw my fried chicken in the trash can. I hung up the phone and furiously stormed towards the kitchen. Just as I reached the kitchen door, Bai Ningbing came out carrying a bowl of soup. The two of us bumped into each other, and the bowl of soup in Bai Ningbing's hands spilled. Seeing the hot soup about to spill on me, Bai Ningbing quickly pushed me away. The hot soup also spilled onto her arm. The scalded skin quickly turned red and immediately blistered. I was stunned for a moment, then frowned and said, "I'll go get the first aid kit to treat you." After treating the wound, I was about to put away the first aid kit when I saw Bai Ningbing staring at me. I couldn't help but frown, my tone a little cold. "I'm sorry about what just happened, but if you hadn't thrown away my food, this wouldn't have happened." Bai Ningbing was silent for a few seconds, then said, "I just didn't want you to eat junk food. I just wanted you to have a meal with me." My expression was indifferent. "No need. You'll order another one myself. We're getting divorced in a week. It's better if we keep our distance this week." Bai Ningbing frowned, looking straight into my eyes and said, "Are you determined to get a divorce?" I looked at her calmly and said in a firm tone, "Yes, Lin Feng, I think we can." I coldly interrupted Bai Ningbing, saying word by word, "There's no need to say anything else. What I've decided, I won't regret. In 1 week, I will give you 50 million. I hope you keep your word." After speaking without even looking at Bai Ningbing's ugly expression, I turned around and left directly. Back upstairs, I didn't order takeout anymore, so I wouldn't have to see Bai Ningbing when I went downstairs later. I opened my phone and found a website I hadn't opened in 3 years. I entered my account and password to log in. As soon as I logged in, a yellow circle appeared on the screen with a line of English text below it. It translated to "Welcome back, full moon." My expression was icy. I directly browsed the mission interface. To earn 50 million in a week, I could only accept missions on here. Suddenly, a dialog box appeared on the left. The sender's name was Stupid Vulture. The profile picture was all black. "Are you Yuan Wei? Looks like it's really you. You haven't shown up in 3 years. I thought you died on some mission. When I saw your avatar light up just now, it felt like you had risen from the dead." Stupid Vulture was a teammate who often took missions with me before, but every time we met, we were in disguise, so no one knew the other's real-life identity. Something came up these past 3 years. "Are you back online to take missions again?" "Yeah." Stupid Vulture. "Coincidentally, I recently received a mission, and I need a partner. The commission is 50 million. If we succeed, we'll split it 50-50. Interested in doing it together? Yuan Wei. Send me the time and mission details." Stupid Vulture quickly sent an encrypted file. I skillfully decrypted it, and after reading it, I replied to Stupid Vulture with a single word. "Okay." Stupid Vulture didn't say much either, and quickly went offline. After browsing a bit more, I accepted another mission with a 30 million commission, then went offline as well. Completing these 2 missions should get me 50 million. The huge weight in my heart was finally lifted. After thinking and arranging my schedule, I went to bed. Early the next morning, I was woken up by the doorbell. I originally planned to ignore it, but the doorbell kept ringing incessantly, shattering the last bit of sleepiness I had. I checked the time. 6:05 a.m. The person seemed to really have something urgent. I went downstairs to open the door and saw Lin Hao outside. I couldn't help but frown. When Lin Hao saw me, he also looked extremely surprised. His face turned pale. You, why are you here?" I looked at him with an indifferent expression. "You don't seem to have the right to ask me that question." After saying that, I turned to go upstairs. Lin Hao's cold voice sounded from behind me. "Stop." The corner of my mouth lifted into a cold smile. I turned back and looked at Lin Hao with a mocking expression.
Being a homewrecker and acting so arrogant, you're the first I've seen. Lin Hao's expression changed. He stared at me and said, Sister Ningbing loves me. Even if you use tricks to stay here, she could never love you. If you know what's good for you, divorce her quickly. It's best if you get lost and never appear in front of her again. I raised an eyebrow and nodded. Fine. You give me 50 million, and I'll divorce her immediately. Lin Hao's pupils constricted, and he gritted his teeth. Isn't the money Sister Ningbing has given you over the years enough? Lin Feng, don't be too greedy. You're the one who's anxious for me to divorce Bai Ningbing without paying any price. How can you prove your feelings for her? A hint of mockery flashed in my eyes. It seems your love for Bai Ningbing isn't worth much. You're not even willing to part with 50 million. Lin Hao was about to speak, when out of the corner of his eye he saw a figure appear on the stairs. His expression immediately turned pitiful. Brother, it's not that I don't want to give you this 50 million. It's just that if I give it to you, Sister Ningbing will definitely be angry if she finds out. Why does she have to know? Just don't tell her. During their silence, a cold voice came from the top of the stairs. Lin Feng, I thought you had some ability to gather that 50 million. Turns out you wanted to make Lin Hao the fool to pay for it. I calmly faced Bai Ningbing's cold eyes and spoke. I thought Lin Hao would be very willing to part with this 50 million, so I gave him a chance. Seeing the two of them completely ignoring him, Lin Hao unconsciously clenched the hem of his shirt, a dark glint flashing in his eyes. Sister Ningbing, what did you tell my brother about the 50 million? If my brother really needs money, I can lend it to him first. I looked at Lin Hao meaningfully and was about to speak when Bai Ningbing spoke coldly. This has nothing to do with you. If he asks you for money again next time, just refuse him directly. The 50 million that was within my grasp flew away just like that. I pouted, not wanting to waste any more words on them, and went upstairs to sleep some more. As I passed by Ningbing, she suddenly grabbed my wrist. She leaned into my ear and warned in a low voice, if I see you asking Lin Hao for money again, even if you really get the 50 million, I won't divorce you. Downstairs, seeing their intimate actions, Lin Hao's eyes turned red with anger. I shook her hand off, took a step back and said coldly, Got it. In the future, just say what you need to say. Don't stand so close to me. I have a phobia of stupid people. Bai Ningbing narrowed her eyes, a dangerous glint flashing in them. Lin Feng, don't provoke me. I didn't even spare her a glance, turned and walked straight into the bedroom, and even locked the door from the inside. Bai Ningbing stared at the door of the guest bedroom, her eyes filled with anger. Sister Ningbing Lin Hao's voice pulled Bai Ningbing back to reality. She quickly turned and went downstairs, frowning at Lin Hao. What are you doing here so early? Sensing a bit of displeasure in Bai Ningbing's voice, Lin Hao bit his lower lip. I was worried about you, so I came to see how you were doing. I didn't expect my brother to be here too. If I had known he was back, I wouldn't have come. Bai Ningbing frowned involuntarily. How? Lin Feng is my husband. Lin Hao's eyes immediately turned red. But we obviously like each other, and you and my brother have no feelings for each other. Why must you insist on a loveless marriage? Bai Ningbing was silent for a moment. Looking at Lin Hao, she said slowly, What was between us is over. Even if I don't like him, he is still my husband. That point will not change. Tears fell from Lin Hao's eyes, his eyes filled with disbelief. Is it just because he took the opportunity to marry you? When you had that car accident, took care of you for 2 years that you've fallen in love with him? I don't love him, but I won't divorce him either. Why? For the 2 years after the car accident when you couldn't stand, he was the one who always stayed by your side to take care of you. Besides, just thinking about divorcing me, an indescribable frustration welled up inside Bai Ningbing. Lin Hao said with a choked voice. You can't be ungrateful. But what about me? The car accident was always kept from me, and by the time I found out, you and my brother were already married. Do you know how I felt then? I wanted to confront you, but I felt it was meaningless. If you want to thank my brother, you could have used other ways. Why did you have to gamble your whole life on it? Bai Ningbing's expression was a little indifferent as she looked at Lin Hao and said, I was indeed wrong about this matter, so after you came back and said you wanted to borrow that villa, I agreed. You said you wanted so I'm also proceeding with the acquisition, but feelings are the one thing I can't give you. After speaking, without caring about Lin Hao's reaction, Bai Ningbing left directly. Lin Hao, with red-rimmed eyes, stared at her retreating back, his heart filled with unwillingness. He wouldn't give up like this. When I went downstairs again, both Bai Ningbing and Lin Hao were gone. I didn't mind and went straight to the company. As soon as I got to the office, I called Zhu Heng over. I have to be away for a few days starting tomorrow. You handle the company matters for now. If you encounter something you really can't solve, wait for me to come back. Okay, I know. Seeing that Zhu Heng hadn't left yet, I looked up at him. Is there anything else? Yes. Probably in the meeting later, Yang Dexiang will make things difficult for you. Yesterday, after the employees in his department were fired, I heard he threw a huge tantrum in his office. I nodded. All right, you can go back to work first. After Zhu Heng left, I looked down and continued reading the documents, clearly not taking this matter to heart. 10 a.m. The meeting started on time. I emphasized the work plan and recent focus. I glanced nonchalantly at the people below. If there's nothing else, the meeting is adjourned for today. As soon as the words left my mouth, Yang Deqiang spoke up. President Lin, I have something to say. I looked at him calmly. What is it? Yang Deqiang smiled. President Lin, recently our company has a business deal that we haven't been able to negotiate. If President Lin could step in, this deal will surely succeed. Besides, President Lin has been away from I for 3 years. We also want to see your capabilities. After all, a company this big can't be managed by someone incompetent. I smirked faintly, nodded and said, all right, bring the contract to my office later. Yang Dechang didn't expect me to agree so decisively he was stunned for a moment before saying, okay, then I hope President Lin can secure this contract soon. After the meeting ended, Zhou Heng followed me into the office. Feng Ge, I already told you to be careful of Yang Dechang. Why did you still jump into his trap? Seeing Zhou Heng's agitation, I said calmly, even if I dodge it this time, he'll just find another chance to harm me next time. It's better to teach him a lesson this time. The client he gives you will definitely be difficult. What if you suffer a loss then? Don't worry. Go do your work. I'm still not at ease. When you go to negotiate, it'll go with you. No need. If I can't even handle a small matter like this myself, when bigger difficulties arise later, won't the company be doomed? Seeing my determination, Zhou Heng had to give in. Okay, but if anything unexpected happens, you must call me. Don't shoulder it alone. Mom, got it. Not long after Zhou Heng left, Yang Dechang came to deliver the contract from Miao Tong. His eyes were filled with smugness. President Lin, I'll wait for you to sign it and come back. Mom, if there's nothing else, President Yang, you may leave. I have a lot of work to do. A flash of anger appeared in Yang Dechang's eyes, then he gave a cold laugh and turned to leave. He was waiting to see me make a fool of myself. I looked through the documents, and after scheduling a meeting with the other party for the evening, I started busying myself with other work. Soon it was time to get off work. I took the documents and went straight to the restaurant where we had agreed to meet. As soon as I entered the private room, the person sitting inside quickly stood up and said cheerfully, Mr. Lin, please have a seat. Liu Ruyan didn't expect me to be so handsome. Looking at me, she felt an itch in her heart, wishing she could pounce on me right now. This time, Yang Dechang had really sent her a handsome man. I sat down on a chair 2 seats away from Liu Ruyan and said with a smile, Hello, President Liu. Dissatisfied with me sitting so far away, Liu Ruyan stood up and sat right next to me, her flirtatious eyes staring greedily at my abs. Mr. Lin, there's no need to be so distant. Although we've never met before, we'll get familiar after this first time. Just call me Sister Ruyan, Mr. Lin. Liu Ruyan was over 50, even older than Lin Zhen, yet she had the nerve to ask me to call her sister. As she spoke, she unconsciously reached out to touch my abs. The next second, a painful scream rang out. Let go, it hurts, it hurts, it hurts. I calmly let go of her hand. Sorry, President Liu, I don't like being touched by others. Although it was an apology, there wasn't a hint of remorse in my eyes. Liu Ruyan was annoyed. Her eyes darted around, and then she suddenly smiled again. She picked up the glass of red wine already poured on the table and poured me a glass. How about this, Mr. Lin? Drink this glass of wine, and I won't fuss about what just happened. How about it? I raised an eyebrow, the corner of my mouth lifting into a smile. President Liu, what's the fun in drinking red wine? Let me call the waiter to bring a few bottles of white wine. Seeing me stand up to leave, the smile on Liu Ruyan's face turned cold. Mr. Lin, if you're not going to be sincere, I don't think there's any need for us to continue discussing our partnership. She slammed the glass of red wine on the table, making a loud thud. Her expression was gloomy. I had also realized that Liu Ruyan basically wanted to use the contract to take advantage of me. I said casually, all right, then please enjoy your meal, President Liu. We'll be leaving now. Liu Ruyan had intended to intimidate me a little, but didn't expect me to use it as an excuse to leave, turning around and walking away. She stood stunned for a few seconds before chasing after me. Stop! Her voice wasn't quiet, immediately attracting the attention of people nearby. Through the carved wooden screen, several people on the other side could clearly see me and Liu Ruyan on the opposite side. Tonight, Yang Zixuan and a few friends came to eat together and unexpectedly ran into me here. Moreover, they all knew Liu Ruyan. She started in the textile business, seized an opportunity a few years ago, and instantly became a boss. She became arrogant and haughty, a true nouveau riche. Her style was a bit trashy. She suddenly smiled again. She picked up the glass of red wine already poured on the table and poured me a glass. How about this, Mr. Lin? Drink this glass of wine, and I won't fuss about what just happened. How about it? I raised an eyebrow, the corner of my mouth lifting into a smile. President Liu, what's the fun in drinking red wine? Let me call the waiter to bring a few bottles of white wine. Seeing me stand up to leave, the smile on Liu Ruyan's face turned cold. Mr. Lin, if you're not going to be sincere, I don't think there's any need for us to continue discussing our partnership. She slammed the glass of red wine on the table, making a loud thud. Her expression was gloomy. I had also realized that Liu Ruyan basically wanted to use the contract to take advantage of me. I said casually, all right, then please enjoy your meal, President Liu. I'll be leaving now. Liu Ruyan had intended to intimidate me a little, but didn't expect me to use it as an excuse to leave, turning around and walking away. She stood stunned for a few seconds before chasing after me. Stop! Her voice wasn't quiet, immediately attracting the attention of people nearby. Through the carved wooden screens, several people on the other side could clearly see me and Liu Ruyan on the opposite side. Tonight, Yang Zixuan and a few friends came to eat together and unexpectedly ran into me here. Moreover, they all knew Liu Ruyan. She started in the textile business, seized an opportunity a few years ago, and instantly became a boss. She became arrogant and haughty, a true nouveau riche. People with any status looked down on her style. Seeing Bai Ningbing's unpleasant expression, Yang Zixuan couldn't help but whisper, "Ningbing, why is Lin Feng involved with Liu Ruyan? Liu Ruyan likes to play around with men. Anyone she gets her hands on ends up either dead or crippled. Her reputation is terrible." Although she thought I wasn't worthy of Bai Ningbing, she also didn't want to see me ruined by Liu Ruyan. Bai Ningbing's face darkened, her eyes fixed on me. It was unclear what she was thinking. I paid no attention to the people nearby, turned my head to look at Liu Ruyan, and said calmly, "Is there anything else, President Liu?" Liu Ruyan let out a cold laugh. "Lin Feng, you're just a public relations employee at my, and you're pretending to be so noble in front of me? Even if I were to do you right here, nothing would happen. Before I lose my patience, be a good boy and come back with me. If you can make me happy in bed, I might just sign that contract." I raised an eyebrow. "Is that what Yang Dichang told you?" Liu Ruyan's eyes were filled with contempt and ridicule. "What difference does it make whether he told me or not? The way you're dressed, isn't your purpose to seduce me?" Today, I was wearing a white shirt with a vest over it. My short hair was neat. I looked both handsome and stylish. I looked down at my outfit, wondering how this could be seductive to her. "President Liu, I'm not interested in you. I hope you can have some self-respect." After saying that, I turned to leave. But Liu Ruyan said with a cold laugh, "You come when you want and leave when you want. It's not that simple." As soon as she finished speaking, two large men suddenly appeared around me. They had to be over 2 meters tall, looking down on me, exuding a sense of oppression. My lips curled, but my eyes were as cold as ice. "President Liu, are you planning to use force?" Behind the screen, Yang Zixuan couldn't help but frown and whispered, "Ningbing, if you don't go and stop her, Lin Feng will be taken away by Liu Ruyan." In her eyes, a scholarly-looking guy like me would surely be at a disadvantage. Bai Ningbing's eyes were cold. "Wait a little longer." "What are you waiting for?" Bai Ningbing said nothing more, but her deep dark eyes remained fixed on me. "The founder of my just returned not long ago, and it just so happens that I work at my..." Could there really be such a coincidence? Liu Ruyan looked at me coldly, her eyes filled with anger. "Take him to the private room for me. Let's see how I'll deal with you later." After speaking, Liu Ruyan turned and went into the private room, already planning in her mind how she would play with me later. However, she had only taken 2 steps when 2 screams rang out from behind her. Before Liu Ruyan could turn around, she got a kick to her butt. Her whole body flew out and slammed hard against the wall. Bam! Liu Ruyan let out a miserable scream. As she fell from the wall to the ground, every part of her body ached. Yang Zixuan behind the screen was also astonished, and subconsciously looked towards Bai Ningbing. Is Lin Feng that good at martial arts? Just now, she couldn't even see how I moved, and those 2 big guys were already on the ground. Moreover, to be able to send a hefty man flying with 1 kick, is that something a normal person can do? Bai Ningbing said nothing, but the look in her eyes as she watched me deepened. Perhaps she had never understood me. On the other side, I slowly walked towards Liu Ruyan, a cold, icy smile on my lips. At this moment, Liu Ruyan had no other thoughts. She just felt that I was truly a demon. "Don't come over here, or I'll call the police." Seeing the panic in Liu Ruyan's eyes, my eyes showed no emotion. I walked up to Liu Ruyan and stepped on her chest with 1 foot. Liu Ruyan felt a sharp pain radiate from her chest, and she spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. "Did you just say you wanted to kill me?" Liu Ruyan quickly shook her head. "No, I was just joking. Mr. Lin, you are a magnanimous man. Please don't hold this against me." As she spoke, Liu Ruyan even started slapping her own face. I looked at her coldly, my eyes unwavering. Not until Liu Ruyan's face was red from slapping did I calmly withdraw my foot and turn to leave. Liu Ruyan's previously fearful eyes immediately turned vicious, staring at my retreating back. She had memorized today's grudge. She would definitely not let me off. Seeing me leave, Bai Ningbing also turned to go upstairs. Her expression was indifferent, but suspicion about me grew in her heart. Perhaps it was time to have Keijing investigate me. Her previous understanding of me was only that I was the long-lost son of the Lun family for 16 years, and Lin Hao's twin brother. In their 3 years of marriage, I had also taken care of her wholeheartedly, no different from an ordinary man. But today had truly been an eye-opener for her. Yang Zixuan beside her was also very shocked. She turned to look at Bai Ningbing and said, "Bing Xiaofeng just beat up Liu Ruyan, and Liu Ruyan is the type to hold a grudge. She'll definitely come looking for trouble with Xiaofeng. Aren't you going to do anything about it?" Bai Ningbing's expression was indifferent. "He didn't ask for my help. Why should I meddle in other people's business? But he's your husband, after all." Hearing this, Bai Ningbing's expression seemed to turn even colder, and she said coldly, "Perhaps not for much longer." A flash of surprise appeared in Yang Zixuan's eyes. "You're planning to divorce Lin Feng? To get back with Lin Hao?" Bai Ningbing said nothing. Yang Zixuan took her silence as a tacit admission and said, "The one you liked was always Lin Hao. Getting a divorce would be good for both you and Mr. Lin. It was Lin Feng who asked for the divorce." This time, Yang Zixuan was truly shocked. After all, in their 3 years of marriage, my feelings for Bai Ningbing were clear for them all to see. I liked Bai Ningbing so much, yet I initiated the divorce? Are you sure? If he's the one who asked for a divorce, what are you hesitating for? Is it because he's demanding too much alimony? Bai Ningbing became more and more annoyed by Yang Zixuan's words,
and shot her a cold glance. You have too much time on your hands, don't you? Have you sorted things out with that little starlet yet? The two of them entered the private room, where Jingdi and Chi Yunji were already waiting. Seeing Bai Ningbing's gloomy expression, Jingdi couldn't help but say, "Ningbing, why the long face?" Bai Ningbing said nothing. Behind them, young Zixuan said with an unusual expression, "Someone is unhappy because they were asked for a divorce, so she's in a bad mood. Don't ask anymore." Jingdi was stunned for a moment and said, "We should be happy when we're having a meal. Don't think about unhappy things." Regarding Bai Ningbing's and my marriage, none of them were very optimistic. Especially now that Lin Hao was back in the country, their marriage became even more fragile. No one noticed Qi Yunji, who had kept her head down without saying a word, her hand holding the water glass unconsciously tightening. After they finished eating, Jingdi and Yang Zixuan suggested going to Huangting for drinks. "You guys go ahead. I have something to do tonight." After Bai Ningbing left, Qi Yunji also said she had to go home for something. Jingdi looked at Yang Zixuan. "They both have things to do, so let's the two of us go together and find some bar to have a drink." Yang Zixuan smiled and shook her head. "I have a date with my boyfriend. You go by yourself." After a few seconds of silence, she looked at Yang Zixuan and said, "You really change boyfriends non-stop. This time it's not another young hunk, is it?" "No. You'll bring him to meet you guys next time. Are you serious this time?" "I'm always serious about my relationships." Jingdi rolled her eyes. "All right then, you go ahead. I'm going home too. It's so boring." It was already past 9 p.m. when Bai Ningbing returned to the villa. As soon as she entered the villa, she saw me, about to leave with a bag. I had changed into a sportswear. My short hair was neat, looking both energetic and handsome. "It's so late. Where are you going?" I didn't expect Bai Ningbing to be back at this time either. After a moment of surprise, I said calmly, "I have some business. I probably won't be back for the next few days." Bai Ningbing grabbed my arm and stared at me coldly. "Lin Feng, don't you forget, you are a married man. It's this late. You're not allowed to go out no matter what." I impatiently shook her hand off. "What does it have to do with you? Weren't you the one who often didn't come back for 10 days or half a month? My agreeing to come back to the villa doesn't mean you can interfere in my private life." I looked down at my watch. The time for my appointment with Vulture was approaching. "If you don't tell me exactly what you're going out for, I won't let you take a single step out of this villa today." I raised my head and looked straight at her, saying without any compromise, "Move." Bai Ningbing said nothing, her deep dark eyes looking at me coldly. She saw my martial arts skills today, and although I am very skilled, if we were to compare martial arts skills, she probably wouldn't lose to me. If I made a move, she could use it as a chance to question me about when I learned martial arts. I looked at her emotionlessly. Just as Bai Ningbing was about to speak, a soft ting sound suddenly rang in her ear. She frowned, and while she was confused, I suddenly started counting down. 3, 2. As I uttered the last number, Bai Ningbing also lost consciousness. I dragged Bai Ningbing to the sofa and left without looking back. When she woke up, it was the next morning. Bai Ningbing rubbed her temples, suddenly remembered something, and her sharp eyes snapped open. She looked around and didn't see me anywhere, her brows furrowed unconsciously. She immediately called Kajing. "Find out where Lin Feng is right now, immediately." At this time, in the rainforest, a group of people was quickly moving towards the deeper part of the forest. Everyone was walking hastily. There were about a dozen of them, dressed in camouflage, each with varying degrees of injuries, but no one fell behind, showing that this was a well-trained team. The leader led everyone to a river and said in English to the people behind him, "Once we cross this river, we'll be safe." As soon as he finished speaking, before everyone could breathe a sigh of relief, a gunshot suddenly rang out from a distance. A bullet lodged itself right between the leader's eyes. Bang as the man fell, continuous gunshots rang out all around. In the blink of an eye, the dozen or so people were reduced to only 4 or 5. "Quick, jump into the river." A series of splashes sounded and the river's surface became murky. I didn't move. My eyes focused intently on the river's surface, like a statue. Just then, Vulture's low voice came through the earpiece. "Yuan Wei, the main mission this time is to kill Poison Scorpion. The rest are just small fries. They can't do anything. Prepare to retreat." I frowned. I had always followed the principle of eliminating the root of the problem. But the mission commander this time was Vulture. He said to retreat, so I had to agree. I put away my gun and turned to leave, when Vulture's anxious voice suddenly came through the earpiece. "Be careful." I had also sensed the danger, and my body suddenly leaned to one side. A bullet grazed my cheek, instantly leaving a streak of blood. I turned and fired a shot in the direction the bullet came from, so fast that the opponent didn't even have time to fire a second shot, and fell to the ground with wide eyes, completely breathless. A whistle sounded in my earpiece, along with Vulture's unconcealed praise. "As expected of Yuan Wei, your speed is as fast as ever." My voice softened. "I have other things to do. Just transfer the commission to my account." After speaking, I cut off the communication between us. Bai Ningbing had people investigate for 3 whole days, but they couldn't even find out where I had gone. During these 3 days, the aura around her grew colder and colder, and everyone in the company dared not approach her. "President, here are the documents I found on Mr. Lin." Bai Ningbing took the documents, opened them, and looked through them. There was nothing different from what she had investigated before. She coldly threw the documents on the table. "Is this the result of your 3-day investigation?"
Jing lowered her head, her face full of guilt. President Bai, it's still under investigation, but not long after Mr. Lin left the villa, he disappeared from the surveillance cameras. So the search is very difficult. We still haven't found his specific location. Continue investigating. After Jing left, Bai Ningbing felt even more frustrated, unable to focus on the documents in her hand. The next night, I returned to the villa in the north of the city. It was already past midnight. I struggled to open the door, and as soon as I stepped inside, my body could no longer hold up and I collapsed straight onto the floor. Suddenly, an arm caught me. I wanted to open my eyes to see who it was, but my eyelids were too heavy to lift. A second before completely losing consciousness, I heard an almost inaudible sigh. When I woke up again, I found that the wounds on my body had been carefully bandaged. I struggled to sit up, put on a robe, and supported my body to go outside. As soon as I got downstairs, I was drenched in sweat. Hearing a noise from the kitchen, I was about to go over when I saw Qin Mengyao coming out of the kitchen carrying a bowl of chicken soup. Seeing me, a flash of surprise appeared in her eyes. She hurriedly put down the bowl of soup in her hands and quickly came over to support me. The doctor said you need to rest. Before she could finish her sentence, a dagger was pressed against her neck. Why are you here? My voice was as cold as ice, completely devoid of its previous gentleness. I told Qin Mengyao last time to not come anymore. I got injured last night and she appeared here. This is too much of a coincidence. Qin Mengyao was stunned for a moment, then looked at me and said, I left a script here, and when I came to get it, I saw you had fallen. After helping you up, I discovered you were injured, so I called a doctor to bandage your wounds. Seeing that I didn't move, Qin Mengyao said with some resignation, if I really wanted to harm you, do you think you would still be alive right now? After a moment of silence, I finally lowered the dagger in my hand and looked at Qin Mengyao, saying, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you just now. Qin Mengyao smiled. It's okay, don't worry, I won't say anything. The doctor I found for you will also keep his mouth shut. Seeing that I had finally let down my guard, Qin Mengyao brought the bowl of chicken soup to me and said, have some chicken soup first. You've lost a lot of blood. You need to replenish your strength. Thanks. As I lowered my head to drink the soup, the doorbell suddenly rang. Qin Mengyao went to the door, saw that the person outside was Bai Ningbing. Her eyes flickered, and she opened the door directly. President Bai. Lin Feng. Before she could finish her sentence, she was forcefully pushed aside by Bai Ningbing. Her tall figure also stepped in. Seeing me in a robe, sitting at the dining table drinking chicken soup, a cold glint flashed in Bai Ningbing's eyes. Lin Feng, the days you were missing, were you with this vixen? Before I could say anything, Qin Mengyao spoke up. President Bai, don't misunderstand. Lin Feng, Before she could finish, she was coldly interrupted by Bai Ningbing. Was I talking to you, or is Lin Feng mute and needs you to speak for him? Qin Mengyao's expression turned a little ugly. She frowned and said, you're Xiaofeng's wife, yet you don't know that for the past few days Xiaofeng, Qin Mengyao. I took a deep breath and looked at her calmly saying, thank you for taking care of me. You should go home first. I'll treat you to a meal some other day to thank you. A hint of disappointment flashed in Qin Mengyao's eyes. She nodded and said, okay, then get some good rest. After grabbing her script, Qin Mengyao left. Instantly, only Bai Ningbing and I were left in the living room. A suffocating silence enveloped us both. Seeing me nonchalantly drinking chicken soup, Bai Ningbing let out a cold laugh. Don't you think you should explain this a little? I didn't say anything. I got up and walked to the drawer under the TV, took out a card and placed it on the table, saying with an indifferent expression, there are 50 million in this card. Let's go file for divorce tomorrow. Lin Feng Bai Ningbing stared into my eyes, almost breathing fire. She grabbed my wrist and said coldly, what is going on between you and Qin Mengyao? I staggered from her pull, almost falling over. I looked up at her impatiently. It's exactly as you see. I've already prepared the 50 million for you. Can you divorce me now? Bai Ningbing gave a cold laugh, her eyes filled with ice. Is this 50 million the payment for being with her these past few days? Qin Mengyao is truly generous. You're worth this price. Seeing the undisguised sarcasm and contempt in her eyes, I frowned. Where the money came from? What does that have to do with you? Don't forget, you said before that if I could give you this amount of money, we would get a divorce. Bai Ningbing threw the bank card on the table, staring into my eyes as she said, money earned with your body. You might not find it dirty, but I do. I looked at her coldly, my eyes filled with indignation. So you want to go back on your word now? I set the rules. I won't take this money, and I won't agree to a divorce either. Seeing the anger on her face, I couldn't help but laugh coldly. Bai Ningbing, I didn't expect you to be so magnanimous. You already assumed Qin Mengyao and I have slept together, yet you can still stubbornly refuse to divorce. I really have to admire you. Bai Ningbing looked at me coldly. You cheated on me? Why should I let you off the hook? Suit yourself. I've already given you the money anyway. You're the one who refuses to take it. If you don't agree, they'll sue for divorce. You can just try. See if anyone dares to accept your lawsuit. After saying that, Bai Ningbing turned and left. I had been holding on for so long, my body had reached its limit, and I collapsed into the chair. The wound on my stomach was faintly bleeding. For the next few days, I recovered at the villa in the north of the city. I waited until my body felt a bit better before going back to work. On the very first day back at work, Yang Dexiang mocked me sarcastically during the meeting. Director Lin disappeared for a few days after offending President Liu. I really don't know if Director Lin, as a president, has any sense of responsibility. I let out a cold laugh, threw the document straight onto the table, and looked coldly at Yang Dexiang. I also want to ask Director Yang, you clearly know President Liu is a promiscuous woman, yet you still told me to go discuss this business deal. What exactly were your intentions? Yang Dexiang didn't expect me to be so blunt. He was stunned for a moment, then gritted his teeth and said, President Liu is a major client of the company. As long as we can sign the contract successfully, what does a small sacrifice matter? Director Lin doesn't even have a spirit of sacrifice. How can we trust that Director Lin can manage the company well? I couldn't be bothered to humor him and said coldly, if you have such a spirit of sacrifice, then you go sleep with Liu Ruyan. When the contract is successfully signed, I will definitely reward you handsomely. Yang Dexiang's face turned pale with anger. He slammed the table coldly and left in a rage. My expression was indifferent as I continued the meeting. After the meeting ended, I had Shen Jianzhou stay behind alone. Shen Jianzhou felt a little uneasy, but his expression remained calm. Director Lin, is there something you need me for? I smiled, and looking at Shen Jianzhou, I said, it's nothing much. I just wanted to remind President Shen not to pick the wrong side, lest you end up with nothing. Shen Jianzhou is Zhou Heng's second uncle. If it weren't for Zhou Heng's father 3 years ago, Shen Jianming, borrowing money from Shen Jianzhou to gamble and losing, Zhou Heng wouldn't have had to mortgage his Mai shares to Shen Jianzhou, making Shen Jianzhou a shareholder of Mai. If he behaves and acts as a good shareholder, that's fine, but if he wants to play tricks behind my back, then I don't mind getting rid of them one by one. Hearing this, the smile on Shen Jianzhou's face didn't change. Director Lin, rest assured, I won't just pick any side. I only stand on my own side. That's for the best. In the evening, I had just returned to the villa when I saw Bai Ningbing standing at the door. I frowned, planning to just ignore Bai Ningbing. As I walked past her, she grabbed my wrist again. Lin Feng, come home with me. I frowned at her, my expression a little annoyed. Bai Ningbing, can you please stop bothering me? Back then, without your consent, I married you. That was my fault, but I also helped heal your leg. In these 3 years, I feel I have never wronged you. Now I want to leave to live my own life. That's not too much to ask, is it? Bai Ningbing's pupils constricted, and a few seconds later, she gritted her teeth and said, I've said it before, a divorce is absolutely impossible. I've already investigated thoroughly. You weren't with Qin Mengyao during those days. Where on earth did you go? And how did you get this 50 million? If you don't want me to keep investigating, then come back to the villa with me right now. My fists clenched unconsciously, a struggle flashing in my eyes. Immediately after, I shook her hand off and got into the car myself. On the way back, neither of us said a word. I felt extremely frustrated, not knowing what on earth was wrong with Bai Ningbing. I agreed to divorce her. Shouldn't she be rushing to file for divorce with me? Dragging it out like this now, neither of us is happy. Returning to the villa, I went straight upstairs. Just as I reached the top of the stairs, Bai Ningbing's voice came from behind. The day after tomorrow is your grandfather's birthday. Not long ago, I won a pair of antique vases at an auction. Can we use that pair of antique vases as a birthday gift? I turned back to look at her with an indifferent expression. Do whatever you want. You don't need to ask me about it. Bai Ningbing frowned. Mr. Lin is your grandfather. So what? A hint of sarcasm flashed in my eyes. It's just a bit of a blood relationship, that's all. Everyone in the Lin family has never considered me family, and I don't have a masochistic tendency to have to carefully curry favor with the Lin family. Regardless, we will attend his birthday together. Got it. After coldly saying those 2 words, I went straight upstairs. Bai Ningbing watched my retreating back, her eyes cold and gloomy. It was unclear what she was thinking. Back in my room, I was about to order takeout when I received a call from Zhou Heng. Xiaofeng, there was something I forgot to tell you today. Bai Ningbing wants to see you. A flash of surprise appeared in my eyes. Then I frowned and said, is it about the acquisition of Mai? Yes, the Bai Group has intended to acquire Mai for a month now. They've approached me several times, but I haven't agreed yet. They probably heard you've returned, so they want to speak with you personally. To be fair, the price they're offering is very good. If you hadn't come back, those old geezers would probably have sold Mai by now and be counting their money. Not hearing my reply, Zhou Heng continued, if you don't want to meet Bai Ningbing, I can turn her down. I was silent for 2 seconds, then said in a low voice, no need, send me the time and place. Now that I'm back, you'll have to meet her sooner or later. All right, I'll go negotiate the time with the Bai Group, okay? After hanging up, I was about to continue looking at takeout when there was a sudden knock on the door. Bai Ningbing's low voice came through. The auntie has already come and cooked dinner. I have something to do tonight. You can go downstairs and eat by yourself later. I didn't answer. A moment later, hearing the sound of a car engine starting, I went to the window just in time to see Bai Ningbing's car, its taillights disappearing from view. 5 minutes later, I went downstairs. Seeing the table full of my favorite dishes, a flash of surprise appeared in my eyes, but I didn't think much of it. I finished eating, washed the dishes, and went back to my room. I went out on the balcony to read for a while, and was getting ready for bed when I suddenly heard a car engine. I looked down and found that Bai Ningbing had returned. She had called a driver. Her movements as she got out of the car were a bit unsteady. She was clearly very drunk. After parking the car, the driver left. Seeing Bai Ningbing almost fall several times, I expressionlessly withdrew my gaze and stood up. I went back to the bedroom. However, all sorts of noises kept coming from the room next door, so noisy that I couldn't sleep. I frowned, got up, and went to the master bedroom door, impatiently knocking and saying coldly, "Please be quiet. The noise is keeping me from sleeping." The noise inside stopped. I turned to leave when the door behind me suddenly opened. I turned my head back in confusion, and before I could react, I was pulled into the darkness by a slender hand. Before I could react, I was pinned against the door by Bai Ningbing. She reeked of alcohol. It was obvious she was very drunk. Her body, pressed tightly against mine, was burning hot. I pushed her, but couldn't push her away. I immediately became a little angry. "Bai Ningbing, let go." My voice had just trailed off when my lips were captured. If this continued, something bad would definitely happen. I grabbed Bai Ningbing's hand, and with a click, turned on the bedroom light. The sudden light made Bai Ningbing squint instinctively, and my angry face came into her view. "Let go of me, I'll go find someone else for you." The fire of anger in Bai Ningbing's heart suddenly flared up. She gripped my hand tightly and spat out each word. "Lin Feng, you are my husband, and you want to find another man for me? Does this man really have no heart?" Hearing the meaning behind Bai Ningbing's words, I pursed my lips and said coldly, "Not for much longer." Bai Ningbing let out a cold laugh. Her eyes, tinged with desire, stared at my face. Ever since I proposed the divorce, she had always given in to me, indulging my every whim. Unexpectedly, not only did I not have any intention of changing my mind, I was even thinking about divorce at a time like this. Bai Ningbing lowered her head and bit my lip fiercely. Before I could speak, she said coldly, "If that's what you want, I can grant your wish." I suddenly looked up at her, my eyes filled with disbelief. "Really?" Bai Ningbing tried to suppress the anger in her heart. Her voice was as cold as ice frozen for 1,000 years. "The condition is that you have to be with me tonight." When Bai Ningbing's words ended, my face immediately turned as white as snow. I bit my lower lip and said coldly, "Aren't you afraid of Lin Hao finding out?" Bai Ningbing's gaze at me was icy. She spat out each word. "It's none of your business. You just need to answer me, yes or no." I took a deep breath, took a step back, and looked at her coldly. "I refuse." Bai Ningbing let out a cold laugh. "It seems you don't want a divorce that badly." My emotions had calmed down by now. I looked at Bai Ningbing indifferently and said, "I don't need to rely on this method to get a divorce. You will agree to the divorce." Seeing the certainty in my eyes, Bai Ningbing felt frustrated and cold. I turned and left directly. It wasn't until I left the master bedroom that the cold gaze from behind me disappeared. Very soon, it was Old Master Lin's birthday. Early in the morning, Old Master Lin called Lin Zhen. "Will President Bai be coming today?" Although Bai Ningbing is my wife, everyone in the Lin family didn't dare to be neglectful towards her. After all, for many of the Lin family's major contracts, the partners agreed out of respect for the relationship between the Lin family and Bai Ningbing. If today at Old Master Lin's birthday party Bai Ningbing comes, it will definitely bring great honor to the Lin family. Lin Zhen was eating breakfast, and upon hearing this, he said, "Dad, don't worry. Even if Xiao Feng can't get President Bai to come, don't you still trust Ahio? If you hadn't mentioned it, I would have forgotten. Okay, then you go get to it." After hanging up, Lin Zhen looked at Lin Hao and said, "You call President Bai? You must invite her to come today for your grandfather's birthday party." Lin Hao felt that Lin Zhen and Old Master Lin were too tense and couldn't help but say, "Dad, what's the big deal about this? Sister Ningbing has already agreed, she will definitely come. If we call her again, it will make our Lin family seem like we have other motives." Lin Zhen thought that made sense, nodded, saying, "Okay, then when President Bai arrives later, remember to take her to see your grandfather immediately." "I know, I still have to go buy a suit, I'm heading out first." An hour later, at the largest shopping mall in Longcheng, Lin Hao and Bai Muchen were strolling and chatting. Bai Muchen is Lin Hao's best friend. He just recently returned to the country. "Muchen, you're not leaving again this time, are you?" Bai Muchen had a bright smile on his face, nodded, saying, "I've already handed over my work in Country M. If there are no major issues, I'll probably settle down in Longcheng." Lin Hao looked at him with a teasing expression. "You came back to Longcheng for Jingdi, didn't you?" Previously, Bai Muchen and Jingdi had been in love. Then Bai Muchen chose to go abroad for his career. After breaking up with Jingdi for so many years, Jingdi has never found a new boyfriend. Everyone knows that Jingdi is waiting for Bai Muchen. A flash of embarrassment appeared on Bai Muchen's face. He glanced at Lin Hao and said, "Don't talk nonsense. I find Longcheng is close to home so I can spend more time with my parents. There's none of that nonsense you're talking about." Seeing him like this, Lin Hao didn't tease him anymore and said with a smile, "Jingdi is also coming to my grandfather's birthday party tonight. When the time comes, I'll create an opportunity for you so you can be alone with her." Bai Muchen shook his head. "No need, she and I still have some unresolved misunderstandings. I'll handle it myself." "All right, if you need any help, just let me know anytime." "Oh, right, there's something I want to tell you." "What is it?" Bai Muchen took out his phone. He opened a video and held it in front of Lin Hao. "This is what I saw at my sea the day I returned to the country. Lately, I've been hesitating about whether or not to tell you." Seeing the image of Bai Ningbing and me entangled in the video, the smile on Lin Hao's face gradually turned cold. "Ahao, you should really keep an eye on this twin brother of yours. You haven't been in the country these past few years. Who knows how many tricks he's pulled behind your back. Be careful he doesn't steal Bai Ningbing from you." The matter of my marriage to Bai Ningbing. Bai Muchen had no idea. He always thought that Lin Hao and Bai Ningbing were a couple. Encountering this situation, his first reaction was that I had secretly hit on Bai Ningbing behind Lin Hao's back. Lin Hao forced a smile. He said innocently, "Muchen, this video doesn't prove anything. Maybe my brother ran into some trouble at the bar. Sister Ningbing, out of respect for me, just helped him out." Bai Muchen couldn't help but shake his head. "How, you don't know." That day at the bar, he called for female models. He even fed fruit to a model. Even I found that scene unpleasant to watch. "You don't still think he's some kind of gentleman, do you?" Silence for a few seconds. Lin Hao pursed his lips and said, "Muchen, you said my brother called for female models. Do you have proof?" Although I didn't record it, the bar's surveillance cameras must have caught it. Seeing Lin Hao remain silent, Bai Muchen suddenly suggested, "How? I just had a great idea." Lin Hao looked at Bai Muchen with a puzzled expression. "What idea?" Bai Muchen leaned close to Lin Hao's ear and whispered a few sentences. Lin Hao's expression was a bit troubled as he spoke. "That's not a very good idea." "What's not good about it?" "Let's just decide on that. You don't need to worry. Just leave it to me." "But..." Bai Muchen couldn't help but frown. He said with some dissatisfaction, "No buts about it. Just listen to me." Lin Hao pretended to be innocent and nodded. "All right then." The two of them continued to shop for clothes, but in his heart, Lin Hao was calculating how to make Bai Muchen's plan a little more perfect. Since this villain wouldn't voluntarily step aside, then he would have to take matters into his own hands. Elsewhere, I woke up early and went straight to the company. When Zhou Heng came to deliver documents, he also gave me the invitation sent by the Lin family. The Lin family invites you to Old Master Lin's birthday party. Seeing Zhou Heng's teasing gaze, I spoke calmly. "You have too much time on your hands." Zhou Heng chuckled. He placed the invitation on the table. "I'm just a little curious. If the Lin family knew you were the founder of my... would they regret treating you like that in the past?" The favoritism of Lin Zhen and Xu Ru towards Lin Hao. Zhou Heng had once witnessed it firsthand at a party. At that time, he even pitied me for a while. Later, his family went bankrupt. He came to me for an interview. Seeing me sitting in the center of the interview panel, with a nameplate that read CEO in front of me, he immediately felt that I was even more pitiful. I glanced at him. "Aren't you bored? Bro, why don't you go to the party with me? Then it'll reveal your identity as the CEO of the Lin family, especially that scheming younger brother of yours." Their expressions will surely be priceless. Not interested. "I have to go with Bai Ningbing tonight." Zhou Heng's eyes widened in surprise. "Aren't you and her about to get a divorce? Why are you still going to a party together?" Hearing that, a flash of annoyance crossed my eyes. My voice also deepened a few shades. Something came up. "We haven't divorced yet." Zhou Heng stared at me, his eyes darting around. He said slowly, "You don't regret it and don't want to divorce anymore, do you?" I was about to speak. The phone on the table suddenly rang. Seeing it was Chen Wenya, the manager of Jan. A hint of confusion flashed in my eyes. As soon as I answered, Chen Wenya's somewhat anxious voice came through. "Boss, today a new employee accidentally hung the Aoshi suit you designed out in the store. Now a customer has taken a liking to it and wants to pay double the price for it." I frowned. "Didn't you tell him that Aoshi is not for sale? I designed that suit, planning to give it to Zhou Heng as a birthday present. It's just that I've been too busy lately and haven't had time to pick it up." I did, but the customer is the young master of the Bai family, Bai Muchen. He insists on buying Aoshi. He even said he'd pay 10 times the price. I'm afraid of offending the Bai family because of this. So for a moment, I didn't know what to do. I was silent for 2 seconds and said calmly, "You tell him. Other than Aoshi, he can choose anything he wants in the store. One outfit, on the house." "Yes, I know what to do now." Hanging up the phone, Chen Wenya walked up to Lin Hao and Bai Muchen. Her face wore an apologetic expression. "Young Master Bai, my sincerest apologies. Our boss has not agreed to sell Aoshi. To express our apologies. Any other suit in the store. As long as young Master Bai likes it, we can give it to you as a gift." A flicker of interest appeared in Bai Muchen's eyes. The suits designed by Jan are very innovative. Moreover, each set costs over $1 million on average. Before seeing Aoshi, he had also taken a liking to several suits. His eyes scanned over the suits he had previously liked, although they were also very handsome. But compared to Aoshi, they no longer seemed so outstanding. Just by seeing Aoshi, he could already imagine how dazzling he would look, wearing this suit at the party. Bai Muchen was silent for a moment. He looked at Chen Wenya unhappily and said, "If the suit has been hung out by an employee, and a customer likes it, then it should be sold to the customer. Otherwise, if someone likes a suit in the future, and you jump out saying it's not for sale, who would still come here to shop?" I admit that Jan's clothes are indeed beautiful, but Jan is not the only choice in Longcheng. Hearing the coercive tone in Bai Muchen's words, although Chen Wenya was still smiling, she was already feeling a bit impatient inside. "Young Master Bai, this suit is really not for sale. Please take a look at the other suits." Bai Muchen let out a cold laugh. His eyes were filled with anger. "What if I insist on having this suit?" The smile on Chen Wenya's face also faded a bit. "No matter what young Master Bai says, this suit will not be sold. I have other things to attend to. Young Master Bai, please take your time to choose. Once you've chosen one, just tell the staff. Please excuse me." After speaking, Chen Wenya turned and left. Bai Muchen was choked with anger. He glared furiously at her departing back. You stop right there, otherwise I will never come to this store of yours again, and I will rally all my friends to boycott Jen together. I mean what I say. Chen Wenya's eyes turned a few shades colder. She turned back to look at Bai Muchen with a serious expression. Young Master Bai, I have already explained it to you. This suit is not for sale. The staff hung it up by mistake. I also said that for any other suit in the store. You can choose as you please. We will give it to you as a gift, but you keep making such an unreasonable fuss. Now you're even threatening to boycott Jan. We don't look for trouble, but we are not afraid of it either. Please, be my guest. Hearing this, Bai Muchen's expression immediately became even uglier. He was about to speak, when Lin Hao beside him hurriedly pulled him back. Manager Chen, please don't be angry. Muchen was just so fond of this suit that he got agitated. I apologize to you on his behalf. Bai Muchen frowned. Just as he was about to speak, he was stopped by a look from Lin Hao. Chen Wenya said calmly, There's no need for an apology. This matter was, from the very beginning, our store's fault. Mr. Lin, please take your time browsing. You'll take my leave now. After Chen Wenya left, Bai Muchen looked at Lin Hao with dissatisfaction and said, Hao, why did you stop me just now? She's just a store manager, yet she dared to be so arrogant in front of me. Lin Hao was silent for a moment, then lowered his voice. Muchen, you just returned to the country. You still don't know Jen's status in Longcheng. Basically, all the young masters and celebrities you can name all have their formal wear custom-made at Jen. If you offend Jen, it won't be a good thing for you. Bai Muchen snorted coldly. He spoke with disdain. It's just a clothing store. What's so great about it? I don't believe there are no other brands besides Jin. Even big international brands like Dr. and CH wouldn't dare to be so arrogant. Lin Hao didn't explain much either. He smiled and said, You'll find out later. Let's pick our suits first. Didn't you like a few earlier? Compared to Aoshi, it always feels like something is missing. Aoshi is not for sale. We can only choose a lesser one. Elsewhere, I had just hung up the phone, when Zhou Heng looked at me with a puzzled expression. Is there a problem at Jan? My expression was a bit helpless. The suit I designed earlier to give to you for your birthday was put on display by a new employee. As a result, someone took a liking to it and wanted to buy it. Zhou Heng raised an eyebrow, his eyes filled with curiosity. What kind of suit is it? It just so happens I have to go to a party tonight. You tell Wenya. Ask her to bring it over here. I can wear it to the party. Your birthday is still half a month away. We'll talk about it on your birthday. Hurry up and get to work. I need to review some documents. Zhou Heng pestered me for a while longer, but it was still no use. He had to go back to work. In the evening, as quitting time approached, I received a call from Bai Ningbing. I'm downstairs at my... When do you get off work? Bai Ningbing's voice was tinged with coldness. She was clearly still angry about last night. 5 o'clock, in about 10 minutes. If you're in a hurry, I can come down now. No need, they'll wait for you. As soon as it was time to leave work, I put down the work in my hands and went downstairs. Just as I stepped out of I saw the black Maybach parked by the roadside. I walked over to the car. As soon as I opened the door and got in, I felt myself enveloped by a chilling coldness. Bai Ningbing stared at the document in her hand. Without looking up, she ordered the driver to drive. The two were silent the entire way. Arriving at the gate of the Lin family's old residence, just as the car was about to stop, I turned my head to look at Bai Ningbing. Later, if someone asks me why I arrived in your car, just say it was on the way. That Lin Hao asked you to pick me up. Bai Ningbing frowned slightly. She looked at me with an icy gaze. Am I that shameful? A secret marriage for 3 years, now that we're about to divorce. There's no need for others to know we were ever married. Bai Ningbing let out a cold laugh. Her tone was sarcastic. Afraid that people knowing will affect your search for a new partner? A flicker of surprise flashed in my eyes. With a blank expression, I spoke. As long as you know. I turned, about to open the car door to get out. When my wrist was suddenly pulled hard, I lost control and fell into Bai Ningbing's arms. I frowned. I reached out to push Bai Ningbing away, when her cold voice sounded by my ear. Lin Feng, you really are testing my patience time and time again. At that moment, outside the car, the Lin family heard that Bai Ningbing's car had arrived. They all came out to welcome her. Old Master Lin stood at the very front. On his face was a proud smile like a spring breeze. This time, Bai Ningbing's attendance at his birthday party had given him and the Lin family enough face. It was also a good way to intimidate those petty people who wanted to take advantage of the Lin family. Shuru also had a proud expression. If it weren't for Lin Hao, Bai Ningbing wouldn't have come. It was all because she had raised a good son, but everyone waited for several minutes, and still didn't see Bai Ningbing get out of the car. They couldn't help but feel a little worried. The guests saw the Lin family making such a grand display, and also followed them outside, only to not see Bai Ningbing. They couldn't help but start whispering, What's going on? Could it be that President Bai isn't coming? I think the Lin family might have offended President Bai somehow. So President Bai is deliberately not getting out of the car. Didn't they say President Bai likes Lin Hao? Even if the Lin family offended President Bai, Lin Hao just needs to go and coax her. I'm afraid Lin Hao had a fight with President Bai. So President Bai is deliberately waiting for Lin Hao to come and invite her out. The crowd's whispers reached the ears of the Lin family. Old Master Lin couldn't help but look towards Lin Hao. How? Go and personally invite President Bai out of the car. A trace of embarrassment flashed across Lin Hao's face. He nodded and said, yes. He walked to the side of the car and called out gently, Sister Ningbing, everyone is waiting for you. Please come out. In the car, Bai Ningbing and I were in a stalemate. Suddenly hearing Lin Hao's deliberately gentle voice, I couldn't help but shiver. Goosebumps covered my entire body. I looked at Bai Ningbing with a half smile and deliberately imitated Lin Hao's tone. Sister Ningbing, your precious little brother is outside the car. Bai Ningbing's brows furrowed tighter as she gritted her teeth and said, Lin Feng, watch your tone. I rolled my eyes. With you holding my hand like this, it's hard for me to speak properly. Silence for a few seconds. Bai Ningbing released my hand with a cold expression and said icily, get out of the car. I directly opened the car door and stepped out. Lin Hao, who was waiting expectantly outside the moment he saw me, his face suddenly turned extremely ugly. Lin Feng, why is it you? I raised an eyebrow and smiled, saying, little brother, you seem very surprised to see me. It wasn't just Lin Hao. The expressions of everyone in the Lin family changed when they saw me, especially Shu Ru. The way she stared at me was as if she was looking at an enemy. I was definitely doing it on purpose. Ever since returning to the Lin family, I had been thinking of every possible way to steal Lin Hao's spotlight. Bai Ningbing got out of the car from the other side. She walked to my side and naturally linked her arm with mine. I frowned and tried to pull away, but was unsuccessful. I couldn't help but grit my teeth and say in a low voice, Bai Ningbing, are you insane? So many people are watching. Aren't you afraid they'll misunderstand? Misunderstand what? We are husband and wife in the first place. Isn't this very normal? I let out a cold laugh and said nothing more. In the eyes of outsiders, the way the two of them looked was like they were whispering intimately. The crowd immediately erupted. What's going on? Didn't they say President Bai and Lin Hao were a couple? Why is she being so intimate with Lin Feng now? Lin Hao was abroad for 3 years. No matter how deep the feelings, they would have faded. Maybe Lin Feng took advantage of the void and swooped in long ago. Lin Hao is just hilarious. Just now in the banquet hall, he was deliberately hinting that, at his invitation, Bai Ningbing would attend his grandfather's party, as if he had so much face. I wonder if his face stings now. I haven't liked him for a long time either. That arrogant and superior attitude. Seeing this scene now, it's so satisfying. Hearing the chatter from the people around, Lin Hao was so angry he just wanted to give me 2 slaps right on the spot. I must have intentionally come in Bai Ningbing's car. The purpose was to make him lose face in front of everyone. He looked up at Bai Ningbing. His eyes were already brimming with tears. Sister Ningbing, you two are too much. After speaking, he turned and left with reddened eyes. I looked at his departing back. My eyes narrowed unconsciously. Lin Hao is still as manipulative as ever. His sentence seemed to say nothing, but in reality, it said everything. It both showed that he knew nothing beforehand, and also implicitly pointed out that I had interfered in their relationship. Truly a master of manipulation. As expected, the way those guests looked at me was already a bit off. But I didn't mind. I even turned my head to look at Bai Ningbing. Your little lover is feeling wronged. Aren't you going to go console him? Bai Ningbing frowned and said coldly, Lin Feng, don't go too far. I chuckled and said nothing more. The Lin family knew that Bai Ningbing and I were married, but Shu Ru still thought that I had stolen Bai Ningbing from Lin Hao's side. She looked at me with an icy expression and said in a cold voice, pulling and tugging in front of so many people, what a disgrace, towards Shu Ru. When I first returned to the Lin family, I still held some illusions. But because of Shu Ru's subsequent biased actions, I now only see her as a stranger. It was Bai Ningbing who insisted on pulling me. You should be saying this to her. It's useless to say it to me, seeing my indifferent attitude and daring to talk back to her. Shu Ru immediately became even angrier and said coldly, Lin Feng, what did you say? Do you still have any respect for me as your mother? Old Master Lin, standing beside them, frowned. His voice carried a hint of anger. All right, everyone, that's enough. Don't let outsiders see us as a joke. Lin Zhen hurriedly nodded. He gave Shu Ru a cold glance, then looked at Bai Ningbing with a smile. President Bai, please come inside. Bai Ningbing had a cold expression. She pulled me into the banquet hall. My heart was filled with frustration. I didn't want to be by Bai Ningbing's side for another second. Miss Bai, you surely have business to discuss with others. Can you let go of me now? Seeing the hint of impatience in my eyes, and how I looked like I wanted to escape her side immediately, Bai Ningbing's gaze turned a few shades colder. If you don't want me to reveal that we're married in front of everyone, then stay obediently by my side. You're not allowed to go anywhere. I frowned. Then, I don't know what came to mind. I chuckled softly and said, fine. As long as you're not afraid of people calling Lin Hao a third party for wanting to interfere in our marriage, then go ahead and make it public. Without waiting for Bai Ningbing to speak, I coldly shook off Bai Ningbing's hand and turned to leave directly, looking at my departing back. Bai Ningbing's face was as cold as ice. It seems she had been too lenient with me recently. Now I knew how to show her attitude. I found a place with no people and was about to rest for a bit. When a servant of the Lion family came over, young master, the madam asks you to come over. I followed the servant to Shu Ru's room. As soon as I stepped inside, A slap flew straight towards my face. My eyes turned cold. I took a step back to dodge it, looking at Shuru with an icy expression. Shuru missed me and almost fell herself. She immediately became even angrier. Pointing at my nose, she scolded, "Lin Feng, how can you be so vicious? You know very well that your brother and Bai Ningbing like each other, yet you deliberately embarrassed him in front of the guests. Are you even human?" A hint of mockery flashed in my eyes. Clearly, Bai Ningbing and I are the married couple. But in Xuru's eyes, it was I who had stolen Bai Ningbing from Lin Hao's side. Favoritism to this extent is truly an eye-opener. I looked at Shuru with an icy expression. 3 years ago, when Bai Ningbing was paralyzed from a car accident, Lin Hao deliberately hid abroad pretending not to know. At that time, when I offered to marry her, why didn't you object? Now that Bai Ningbing's legs have healed, Hao has returned to the country, so I have to give Bai Ningbing to him? On what grounds? This is all what you owe Hao. If it weren't for him, do you think you could have returned to the Lin family? Lin Feng, don't be ungrateful for your blessings. I laughed out of anger and looked at Shuru coldly, saying, "What do I owe him? If I hadn't donated my bone marrow to him, could he have lived until now? In the beginning, you all begged me to return to the Lin family. Otherwise, do you think I'd care to come back?" Shuru sneered, her eyes filled with arrogant contempt. "If it weren't for the fact that you could donate bone marrow to Hao, you'd still be farming in that poor countryside. Everything you have today is thanks to the Lin family." My expression was indifferent. "Say whatever you want." Shuru pointed at me and said coldly, "It's because you're always so stubborn that I hate you so much. Is there anything else?" My eyes were full of impatience. The anger that Shuru had struggled to suppress flared up again in an instant. "Lin Feng, is this the attitude you use to talk to me?" Seeing Shuru agitated, I looked at her and said, "What kind of attitude do you want?" Shuru frowned, saying with a look of disgust, "Forget it. I can't be bothered to argue with you about these things. Hao is back. When do you plan to divorce Bai Ningbing? What does Lin Hao's return have to do with whether Bai Ningbing and I get a divorce?" Shuru snorted coldly. "Don't play dumb when you know perfectly well. Bai Ningbing and Hao like each other. You being stuck in the middle just makes you a laughingstock." My expression was indifferent. Bai Ningbing and I are husband and wife. The one stuck in the middle isn't me. The one being laughed at isn't me either. Shura's face turned pale with anger. She gritted her teeth and said, "Are there no other women in this world? Must you fight with Hao over her?" An icy smile formed on my lips. I said word by word, "Mrs. Shu, I hope you can understand clearly. It is Lin Hao who wants to steal from me now. Instead of forcing me to initiate the divorce here, why don't you tell Lin Hao to try a little harder? As long as he can make Bai Ningbing ask for a divorce, I will sign immediately and absolutely will not cling to Bai Ningbing." "Fine, Lin Feng. Remember what you said today?" I said nothing more, turned around and left directly. When I returned to the banquet hall, Old Master Lin was giving a birthday speech. I wasn't in the mood to listen, found a less crowded place to sit, took out my phone, and was about to play a few rounds of a game when someone suddenly sat down next to me. I turned my head and saw it was Chu Heng. I calmly averted my gaze and continued playing my game. Chu Heng glanced at my phone screen and said with a frown, "You've been playing for so many years. Aren't you tired of it yet?" "Not tired." Chu Heng glanced at my handsome profile and couldn't help but sigh. "You are clearly better than Lin Hao in every way, so why is the Lin family so blind? Can't they see?" "No, wait. Bai Ningbing is blind too." Thinking about the scene he had just seen in the garden, a flash of anger appeared in Chu Heng's eyes. He tried to hold it in but couldn't help saying, "Just now I saw in the garden, Bai Ningbing was hugging Lin Hao. I almost threw up my lunch from nausea. The movements of my hands didn't stop at all." I said calmly, "They were a couple to begin with. You might see more scenes like this in the future, so it's better to get used to it early." "I can't get used to it." "Tell me, how can such a good person like Bai Ningbing have such bad taste in men? She could have liked anyone, but she had to fall for a schemer like Lin Hao." I had just finished a round, put away my phone, glanced at Chu Heng, and said, "To each their own. Besides, when you like someone, you naturally feel that everything about them is good." Seeing my calm expression, Chu Heng couldn't help but frown. "The problem is, you and Bai Ningbing aren't divorced yet. Are you just going to stand by and watch yourself get cheated on like this? What else can I do? The fact that she and I are secretly married is not known by many people anyway. The way they are now is very normal in the eyes of others." After a moment of silence, Chu Heng patted my shoulder and said, "You're so pitiful. He'll definitely treat you better from now on. No need for from now on. You can treat me well right now. I want some fruit. Go get some for me." Chu Heng couldn't help but laugh. "All right, he'll go get it for you." Not long after Chu Heng left, Old Master Lin came down from the stage and was replaced by Lin Xiaoyu. Lin Xiaoyu is currently studying at Capital University. She's a very outstanding person and is very doted on in the Lin family. Now Lin Xiaoyu is on stage showing a video that she made herself to wish Old Master Lin a happy birthday. The video had only been playing for a dozen seconds when the screen suddenly went black. Everyone was a little stunned, thinking the screen was broken. But the next second, the screen suddenly lit up again. But what was on the screen was no longer the previous video. It had turned into a surveillance camera clip. It was the camera footage of me and Chu Heng calling female models at Mizi Bar. Because I lost a game, I was feeding fruit to that model. The camera clip only showed this part and played it on a loop. All the guests were first surprised, then everyone subconsciously looked towards me and started whispering among themselves. Oh my god, I can't believe the guy the Lin family brought back is such a playboy, openly calling for female models, as expected from someone who grew up outside. The Lin family is about to lose all face. I really don't know if the Lin family regrets bringing him back now. If I were Lin Zhen and Shu Ru, I would definitely be furious. I originally just came to attend Old Master Lin's birthday party. I didn't expect there would be such a good show to watch, looking at Lin Xiaoyu on stage with an embarrassed expression, feeling Old Master Lin's dissatisfied gaze on me. Even a fool would know I've been set up. As for who set me up, who benefits the most, it's naturally that person. Old Master Lin's expression could no longer be described as just ashen. His whole body radiated anger. Lin Zhen, Shu Ru, is this the good son you two raised? He has completely made me lose all my old face. Lin Zhen frowned and said, Dad, the most important thing now is to quickly explain this away. Old Master Lin, with an icy expression, gritted his teeth and said, What's there to explain? Isn't this embarrassing enough? Shu Ru also had an angry look on her face. In my opinion, we should sever ties with him. Otherwise, who knows what kind of trouble hell cause in the future. Lin Zhen gave me a cold glance. Shut up. If you had managed him properly, would this have happened? Zhu Ru immediately felt extremely wronged. What does this have to do with me? He was outside for over a decade. Who knows who he learned these bad habits from? Alright, stop talking. Isn't it chaotic enough? From now on, he is forbidden from ever setting foot in the Lin family home again. Lin Zhen wanted to say more, but was pulled back by Shu Ru. Can't you see Dad is furious? If you speak now, you'll only make Dad angrier. Lin Zhen reluctantly held his tongue, feeling a little angry himself. He felt I was truly tactless. Today, seeing Bai Ningbing arrive with me, he had thought we had a good relationship, but he never expected something like this to happen. Seeing that Lin Zhen and Shu Ru were silent, old Madam Lin said, if this is something he did, then let him come over and explain it himself. At this moment, Bai Ningbing and Lin Hao also walked into the banquet hall. Seeing the content on the screen, their expressions were different. A flash of triumph appeared in Lin Hao's eyes. It seems Bai Muchen's method really worked. Now everyone must think him a dissolute playboy. As for Bai Ningbing, her expression was ugly. She quickly walked to my side and said coldly, What is this? I glanced at her nonchalantly. You're asking me? I also want to know who did it. The fact that I went to the bar, besides Chu Heng, only you knew. Chu Heng wouldn't do this. Hearing this, Bai Ningbing's face immediately turned extremely cold. Are you suspecting me? I didn't avoid it and nodded. Shouldn't I suspect you? After all, I have offended the person you like. In a fit of anger, you wanted to vent his anger. So doing something like this is very normal. Anger flashed in Bai Ningbing's eyes. In your heart, am I that kind of person? I said nothing. A wave of anger and helplessness rose in Bai Ningbing's heart. He never believed her. Just as the atmosphere between the two of them dropped to a freezing point, a servant of the Lin family came over. Young master, old madam calls for you to go over and personally explain this matter clearly. My expression was indifferent. What's there to explain? What you see is the truth. The servant's expression was a little ugly, and his tone was slightly dissatisfied. Young master, because of this, old madam was so angry she had to take several heart pills. If you don't go over and explain, old madam will surely be even angrier. Before I could speak, my wrist was suddenly grabbed tightly. By the time I could react, I had already been pulled forward a few steps by Bai Ningbing. I frowned at Bai Ningbing and said coldly, Bai Ningbing, what are you doing? Let go of me. Lin Hao at the side hurriedly ran to block Bai Ningbing, his eyes full of worry. Sister Ningbing, what are you planning to do? Although my brother was in the wrong in this matter, explaining now will only make things worse. Why don't you just let my brother leave first? I looked at Lin Hao coldly. If you say that what happened today has nothing to do with Lin Hao, I don't believe it. Telling me to leave first now, probably to make it easier to slander me later. Lin Hao's eyes flickered. He looked at me with a wronged expression. Brother, I am always thinking of you. Why do you think so badly of me? If I find out that today's incident has anything to do with you, I will definitely not let you off. Lin Hao, you don't need to pretend to be a good person here. It wasn't me who told you to go to the bar and call female models. Even if you're angry that this was exposed, you can't take it out on me. At this moment, Shu Ru also walked up to Lin Hao, looking at me with disgust and said, You're cheap, so you hang out with that kind of trashy woman, and now you have the nerve to slander Ah Hao. Why did I give birth to a wicked creature like you? Lin Hao hurriedly pulled Shu Ru back, pretending to be magnanimous, and said, Mom, it's okay for me to suffer a little injustice. It's just that my brother's reputation might be ruined. Even if it's ruined, it's his own doing. It has nothing to do with you. Seeing Shu Ru and Lin Hao acting in concert, if my hand wasn't still being held by Bai Ningbing, I would have wanted to applaud them. Bai Ningbing didn't even look at Lin Hao and pulled me straight to the center of the stage. Everyone looked at Bai Ningbing in astonishment, not knowing what she was going to do. I looked at Bai Ningbing with a mocking expression. It seems you really love Lin Hao to death. Showing the surveillance footage on the big screen wasn't enough. You also had to drag me out in front of everyone to humiliate me once more. Lin Hao at the side thought the same. Bai Ningbing must have seen my humiliation and wanted to publicly sever ties with me. The next second, Bai Ningbing's words left me frozen on the spot. Just now, old Madam Lin said she wanted an explanation. My husband can explain. I'm just afraid your Lin family can handle it. As soon as she finished speaking, everyone burst into an uproar. Did I hear that right? Isn't Bai Ningbing a couple with Lin Hao? Why is she now saying Lin Feng is her husband? A moment ago, I thought Lin Feng was the third party. It turns out Lin Hao is the other man. He clearly knew Lin Feng and Bai Ningbing were married, yet he was still entangled with his own sister-in-law. What a schemer. Isn't the most shocking thing that Bai Ningbing saw him feeding that woman fruit, but could still calmly say that they were married? Lin Hao's face was as pale as paper. His whole body trembled uncontrollably. I never expected Bai Ningbing to publicly admit that she and I are married. Doesn't she dislike Lin Feng? Why? Exuru saw the pained look on Lin Hao's face, and her heart immediately ached, hurriedly supporting Lin Hao's collapsing body. Hao, don't be sad. Bai Ningbing must not want the Lin family to lose any more face. That's why she deliberately said that in front of everyone. Hearing this, Lin Hao clung to it like a last straw, and subconsciously nodded, saying, yes, it must be like that. Sister Ningbing couldn't possibly like my brother. We are the ones who are a couple. Old Master Lin and Old Madam Lin glanced at each other, both seeing surprise in the other's eyes. They had always thought that Bai Ningbing and I had a bad relationship. Now that Lin Hao is back, the two of them would surely get divorced, which is why they dared to belittle and plot against me so casually. If Bai Ningbing had feelings for me, they would have to reconsider. Very quickly, Old Master Lin reacted and hurriedly said to Bai Ningbing, President Bai, you're exaggerating. It's just that we feel there might be some misunderstanding in this matter, so we wanted to let Xiaofeng explain to the guests so they wouldn't misunderstand Xiaofeng. Bai Ningbing's face was icy. She said word by word, what misunderstanding? I was also at the bar that day. He was arguing with me at the time, so he deliberately called a female model to provoke me. Do the private matters between my husband and I need to be explained to you? Whoever is so interested in our marital affairs, why don't you install a camera in my house later, so you all can watch us 24/7? Her cold gaze swept over everyone. Everyone she looked at bowed their heads, not daring to look her in the eye. Who dares to say anything now? If Bai Ningbing is unhappy, she could make their families go bankrupt in just a few minutes. They'd have to be crazy to keep harping on this matter. In private, these young masters and bosses fool around much more than this. It's just that they don't get exposed. The banquet hall was dead silent. Everyone held their breath, afraid of attracting Bai Ningbing's attention. After the initial shock, I calmed down, shook off Bai Ningbing's hand, and quickly walked towards the banquet hall door. Bai Ningbing frowned and quickly chased after me. Lin Hao bit his lip and followed them out. Just as they reached the door, Bai Ningbing was blocked by Lin Hao. He looked at Bai Ningbing with an expression like he was about to cry. Sister Ningbing, have you fallen for my brother? A flash of displeasure appeared in Bai Ningbing's eyes. She said coldly, Hao, this is between me and Lin Feng. It has nothing to do with you. How is it not related? Lin Hao's emotions were on the verge of collapse. Tears streamed down his face. We were clearly the couple. He was the one who took advantage of your car accident to wedge himself in. For 3 years, you still haven't publicly announced the marriage? Was it to wait for me? Bai Ningbing was silent for a few seconds, looked at Lin Hao with an indifferent expression and said, At first, I did want to wait for you, but later, I gradually lost that thought. Hao, you will meet someone better. You are the best one. Sister Ningbing, I know you still like me, so I won't give up. Bai Ningbing frowned. You are still very young. There's no need to waste your time on. Lin Hao kept interrupting. He said word by word, This is not a waste of time. Besides you, I won't love anyone else. Seeing the determined look in Lin Hao's eyes, Bai Ningbing's gaze turned a few shades colder. She said nothing more and left directly. When Bai Ningbing returned to the villa, she saw me sitting on the sofa in the living room, a flash of anger in her eyes. Why didn't you wait for me to come back with you? I didn't answer, just looked at her with a calm expression. Bai Ningbing, let's talk. Bai Ningbing came and sat down opposite me, her gaze covered in frost. What do you want to talk about? I pursed my lips. About how you publicly revealed our secret marriage at the party tonight. Luckily, the people who came today were all acquaintances of the Lin family. As long as I manipulate things a bit behind the scenes, the fact that Bai Ningbing and I have been secretly married for 3 years won't be known by more people. Bai Ningbing was silent for a few seconds, a simmering anger rising in her eyes. Lin Feng, don't forget that if I hadn't helped you, the matter of you calling a female model would have been blown up into who knows what. I let out a soft laugh, but there was no warmth in my eyes. I don't think I asked for your help. You decided that on your own. Besides, what you did has caused me trouble. Bai Ningbing's face was icy. She looked at me with a mocking expression. What trouble? Does it affect your search for someone else? I frowned. Do you have to speak so harshly? The truth hurts, Bai Ningbing. I don't want to make things so ugly. What will it take for you to finally agree to a divorce? Bai Ningbing looked up at me, her eyes full of stubbornness, and said word by word, I've already said it, I will not agree to a divorce. You should get that thought out of your head. I took a deep breath, suppressing the anger in my heart, tried to look at her calmly. You don't want a divorce? There has to be a reason, right? My reason is that I no longer love you, so I don't want to continue this loveless marriage. For some reason, just the thought of her not being in my future plans, an indescribable frustration grew in Bai Ningbing's heart. She looked at me coldly. You chose this marriage yourself. Now it's not up to you to decide. Seeing Bai Ningbing turn to leave, I gritted my teeth and said, if you don't agree, then I will personally go find grandmother to talk about this. You dare? Bai Ningbing's voice was filled with anger. Her gaze looked like she wanted to eat me alive. I wasn't intimidated by her threatening gaze and looked straight back at her without fear. If you want to keep dragging this on, I can only ask grandmother to make you divorce me. Bai Ningbing stared at my face, and after a moment, she let out a cold laugh. Then you can try and see if I'll agree. After she left, my heart was filled with anger. It's clearly a simple matter of signing a paper. Why won't she agree? Suddenly, the phone on the table rang. As soon as I answered, Xu Hang's voice came through. Xiaofeng, where did you go? I was just on the phone with my mom a moment ago. When I got back, you were nowhere to be seen. Everyone around is still secretly gossiping about you being married to Bai Ningbing. Did you two go public? My hand holding the phone unconsciously tightened. My fingers turned a little pale. After a long while, I just hummed in response. What on earth is going on? Aren't you two about to get a divorce? I'll explain it to you another day. I'm a bit tired today. Let's leave it at that for now. After hanging up, I sat on the sofa for a while longer, then got up and went to the bedroom. In the study, Bai Ningbing was calling Kijing. President Bai, I've investigated thoroughly. Tonight's incident was caused by Bai Muchen. When Bai Muchen was abroad, he was close friends with Lin Hao. He just returned to the country not long ago. He has no grievances with Lin Feng, so tonight's incident might be related to Lin Hao. Bai Ningbing's eyes turned several shades colder. She said coldly, send what you found to my phone. Yes. After her inbox received the notification, Bai Ningbing opened it and glanced through. Her entire body exuded a chilling aura. She sent a message to Keijing and told Keijing to erase all traces. Only then did she call Lin Hao. Upon receiving Bai Ningbing's call, Lin Hao spoke after a long pause. Sister Ningbing, didn't you say you didn't want anything to do with me? Why are you calling me then? Was tonight's incident related to you? Lin Hao's breathing clearly became heavier. Immediately after, he spoke with both grievance and anger. Are you suspecting me? Bai Ningbing's voice was indifferent. Answer my question. No. No matter how bad my brother is, he's still my biological brother. How could I possibly harm him? Hearing this, a cold glint flashed in Bai Ningbing's eyes. She said in a low voice, I've already investigated this matter thoroughly. On the surface, it was Bai Muchen's doing, but if I continue to investigate, it's not impossible to find clues. I'll give you one more chance. Was it related to you or not? Lin Hao was frightened by Bai Ningbing's icy voice. After a long pause, he spoke. Yes. I did it. Because I've had enough. Seeing you standing with him, when the person by your side should clearly be me. I'm jealous of him. I'm so jealous I'm about to go crazy, so I did something like this. Do you find me ridiculous? Bai Ningbing pressed her thin lips together. Her icy voice spoke up. I'll let it slide this time. Don't play these pointless games anymore. I don't want you to destroy the last bit of goodwill I have for you. Hanging up the phone, Bai Ningbing's heart was filled with frustration. It seems the acquisition of my needs to be expedited. After handing my over to Lin Hao, she wouldn't give Lin Hao any more chances to get close to her. The next morning, I had just woken up when I received a call from Lin Zhen. Little Feng, are you awake? Hearing the slight reservation in Lin Zhen's tone, I frowned. Is something wrong? Lin Zhen coughed lightly and said, yesterday at your grandfather's birthday party, our whole family didn't have a chance to sit down and talk. Today, your grandparents instructed the kitchen to make your favorite dishes. Come back to the old house tonight for dinner with your grandparents. I finally understood why Lin Zhen's attitude towards me had changed so much, but their expectations would surely turn to dust. Not to mention that my relationship with Bai Ningbing is not good. Even if it were good, I wouldn't let Bai Ningbing help the Lin family. No need, I'm very busy. I'm not sure if you'll have time to go over. Haven't you always been a full-time house husband at home? How could you not have time? I found a job. I have to go to work now. If there's nothing else, I'll hang up. Lin Zhen was stunned for a moment until the dial tone came through the phone. The busy signal brought him back to his senses. Xu Ru next to him had an ugly expression. She pouted and said, What happened? Did he agree to come? Lin Zhen shook his head. He said he found a job, so he doesn't have time to come. Xu Ru snorted coldly, saying with a contemptuous expression, What kind of good job could he find? Surely not washing dishes for a restaurant, right? If it's a job like that, you should advise him to quit soon, lest he embarrasses the Lin family. Lin Zhen looked at Xu Ru coldly, his eyes devoid of any warmth. Little Feng is Bai Ningbing's husband, after all. What nonsense are you spouting? If Bai Ningbing hadn't been crippled at first, do you think the Lin family would want someone who hasn't even finished high school to be Bai Ningbing's husband? Back then, I hadn't finished high school, when I suddenly disappeared for a while. When I came back, I never mentioned continuing my studies. Therefore, within the Lin family, my education level is the lowest. I would occasionally be ridiculed by AI Feng Tai. Every time, Shuru would feel extremely humiliated. If it weren't for Lin Hao's ambition, I don't know what kind of ridicule I'd still be facing from AI Feng Tai now. Shuru, I'm warning you. No matter what, little Feng is your biological son? I don't have a son like that. I only consider myself to have given birth to a Hao alone. After speaking, Shuru turned and left directly. Lin Jian looked at Shuru's retreating back, feeling a headache coming on. He called his assistant to investigate where Lin Feng was working. 10 a.m. The top-floor meeting room of my Yang Dexiang stared at me with an angry face, slamming the file in his hand onto the table. He said coldly, President Lin, everyone in the department I manage has been fired now. New employees haven't been recruited yet. The entire department is about to be paralyzed. Several partners are pushing for their products. My subordinates have been working overtime late into the night for over a week now. Just in the last 2 days, several employees couldn't take such a heavy workload and have submitted their resignations to me. This was caused by you. Shouldn't you give me a solution? As soon as Yang Dexiang finished speaking, several other shareholders chimed in. That's right, my department is a mess too. The work of 3 people is now piled onto 1 person. Who can handle that? If this continues, I think my will go bankrupt sooner or later. To be honest, although my was founded by you, President Lin, you haven't been at the company for these past few years. No matter how many ideas you have, you should implement them step by step, not try to reach for the sky in a single bound. I didn't answer them. Instead, I looked at Chu Heng calmly and said, Show me the recent business dealings of the department managed by President Yang. Yang Dexiang's expression changed. President Lin, what do you mean by this? You don't trust me? I took the file from Chu Heng and said with a smile, President Yang, compared to your character, I trust the numbers more. After all, numbers won't lie to me. Yang Dexiang's face turned pale with anger, but I had already closed the file and looked at him, my eyes full of coldness. According to the document, the department you, President Yang, are in charge of currently has only 5 projects in total, of which 3 projects have deadlines half a year from now. The other 2 projects started a year ago and still haven't finished. You shouldn't be looking for me. Instead, you should reflect on yourself. Why did your department, with so many people before, fail to complete 2 projects in a year? My words made his face turn pale, then green. Yang Dexiang felt that he had lost all his old face. He gritted his teeth and said, Those 2 projects are already in their final stages. Besides, everyone else has ongoing projects now. You can't just have others drop their work to clean up these 2 messes, right? My expression was icy. That's your problem. You don't need to report your arrangements to me. What I need is the final result. Also, your departments this year, up until now, haven't negotiated any collaborations. If the departments under you not generate profit for the company, I will consider shutting down those departments at the end of the year. Yang Dexiang's face turned ashen. He stared at me with cold eyes. President Lin, this company doesn't belong to you alone. You can't be so tyrannical. I raised an eyebrow at him and said word by word, Then let's look at the profits at the end of the year. If your department continues to suffer losses, it will also affect the dividends of other shareholders. As soon as these words were spoken, the gazes of all the shareholders on Yang Dexiang immediately changed. Those shareholders who had originally intended to cause trouble like Yang Dexiang all felt a slight chill down their spines. I didn't look at Yang Dexiang anymore. I said calmly, I will create quarterly and yearly plans for each department. At the end of the year, if the results are too far from the plan, either the department will be handed over to someone else to manage, or the department will be shut down. Seeing that no one was speaking, I stood up and said, If there's nothing else, today's meeting is over. Meeting adjourned. Yang Dexiang stared at my retreating back, his eyes filled with a dark and cold expression. For the next few days, I was busy with company matters. I had no communication with Bai Ningbing. We only saw each other when leaving and returning each day. Soon, it was the day before Chu Heng's birthday. After work, I went straight to Jen to pick up the formal suit I had prepared for Chu Heng. As soon as I entered the mall, I ran into Lin Hao and Bai Shuhan shopping together. Seeing me, both of their expressions changed. Bai Shuhan frowned at me and said coldly, Lin Feng, what are you doing here? I came here to do something. Although Bai Shuhan is my father-in-law, I know very well that the son-in-law he acknowledges in his heart has always been Lin Hao. So for the past few years, no matter how I tried to please him, he never gave me any regard. But now, I've come to terms with it. My attitude towards Bai Shuhan is no longer as reserved as before. Seeing that I was about to walk past, Bai Shuhan said with some dissatisfaction, Since we've met here, I want to buy 2 suits. Come over and help me pick them out. Hearing Bai Shuhan's commanding tone, my expression was calm. I have something to do. Just let Lin Hao help you. After speaking, I turned and left immediately. Bai Shuhan was choked with anger. He stared coldly at my retreating back, gritting his teeth and saying, This is infuriating. I shouldn't have let Ningbing marry him in the first place. Uncle Bai, don't be angry. My brother's personality has always been like this. He didn't do it on purpose. Hearing this, Bai Shuhan's expression immediately turned uglier. He frowned and said nothing. Lin Hao looked at him as if he wanted to say something but hesitated. He stammered, Uncle Bai, actually there's something about my brother. I don't know if I should tell you. What is it? Just say it directly. Not long ago, my brother went to a bar and hired a female model. Someone saw him. On the day of our grandfather's birthday party, the surveillance footage was even shown on the big screen. At that time, most of the high society in Longcheng saw it. A flash of anger and disbelief appeared in Bai Shuhan's eyes. He dared to do that? Lin Hao nodded. He said with a sad expression, I don't know why he did it either. To protect him, Sister Ningbing even revealed their marriage in front of everyone. Bai Shuhan's face was full of anger. He was already dissatisfied with me, and now I had cheated on Bai Ningbing. How? I have something to do. I won't be shopping with you today. Come visit when you're free next time. Yes, Uncle Bai. But please don't tell anyone that I told you about this. Otherwise, hell think him, intentionally bad-mouthing him behind his back. Bai Shuhan patted his shoulder and said, How? Don't worry. I won't tell. Seeing Bai Shuhan leave in a hurry, a triumphant smile curled at the corner of Lin Hao's mouth. I had just picked up the formal suit and stepped out of the mall when I received a call from Bai Ningbing. Her voice was as cold as ice. Her tone was even colder. You? Where are you? At the entrance of Tianda Mall. Why? Wait for me there. They'll be there in half an hour. I was about to ask her what was wrong, but Bai Ningbing had already hung up. In less than half an hour, Bai Ningbing's car pulled up in front of me. Seeing that Bai Ningbing was driving herself today, I put the formal suit in the back seat, opened the passenger door, and got in. Why did you suddenly come looking for me? Bai Ningbing's eyes were full of coldness. She said while driving, going to clean up the mess you left behind from hiring a female model. I frowned. What do you mean? You'll know when we get there. Seeing Bai Ningbing drive straight to the gate of the Bai family's old house, I finally understood what she meant. Thinking about how I had just been at Tianda and met Bai Shuhan and Lin Hao, and the Bai family already knew about me hiring a female model so quickly, I couldn't help but let out a cold laugh. We entered the living room. Bai Shuhan was sitting on the sofa with an icy expression. Seeing me, his cold gaze was like poison, wishing he could come up and slap me twice immediately. Ningbing, I heard that Lin Feng went to a bar and hired a female model. Is this true? Bai Ningbing's brows were furrowed with coldness. She said coldly, Who was spouting nonsense in front of you? Bai Shuhan slammed the teacup, in his hand, down on the table. His face was full of anger. Does it matter who told me? What's important is whether this is true or not. Bai Ningbing was about to deny it when I suddenly spoke up from behind her. It's true. You didn't call us here just to confirm this, did you? Before we arrived, Bai Shuhan had already investigated this matter thoroughly. He had already seen the surveillance video. At that time, he was so angry he could barely breathe. He looked at me coldly and said with a disgusted expression, It's good that you dare to admit it. Calling you two here today is indeed for another matter. I looked at Bai Shuhan calmly, waiting for him to continue. Lin Feng, Ningbing, marrying you was already you punching above your weight. Now you've gone and cheated on Ningbing. The Bai family will not tolerate you. Divorce Ningbing. All right, I don't agree. Bai Shuhan looked at Bai Ningbing with an incredulous expression. Are you crazy? Lin Feng cheated on you. Bai Ningbing's expression was indifferent. This is a matter between us. I hope you won't interfere. Bai Shuhan let out a cold laugh. I won't interfere? Ningbing, have you been bewitched by this kid? He did such a disgraceful thing, and you still plan to stay with him? I already said it has nothing to do with you. Don't interfere in our matters anymore. I suddenly spoke up from the side. I agree to the divorce, as long as you can make Bai Ningbing sign. Seeing me being so straightforward, Bai Shuhan couldn't help but frown instead. You'd agree to a divorce so readily? I smiled. Didn't you just say it? I was the one punching above my weight with Bai Ningbing. Besides, I did indeed hire a female model. Bai Shuhan looked at me coldly. You better be a man of your word. If you're not reassured, I can write a guarantee. As soon as the words left my mouth, Bai Ningbing couldn't help but speak up. Lin Feng, shut up. I turned to look at Bai Ningbing and said calmly, You see, everyone thinks we shouldn't be together. Why are you still so insistent on not getting a divorce? I feel like I really can't understand what on earth Bai Ningbing is thinking. I'm voluntarily stepping aside, letting her and Lin Hao be together. Shouldn't she sign immediately? Bai Ningbing was silent for a few seconds. She didn't say anything. She just pulled me and left directly. Bai Shuhan looked at our retreating backs, his heart filled with anger. He immediately called Chen Shumin. Amin, come back for a bit. I have something I want to discuss with you. Stepping out of the Bai family's old house, I impatiently shook off Bai Ningbing's hand. Bai Ningbing, I'm really fed up. I don't want to keep dealing with you like this. Can't you just let me go? Bai Ningbing stopped walking. If you don't want to deal with it, you don't have to see him in the future. If he looks for you, you can just ignore him directly. Hearing this, a flash of surprise appeared in my eyes. I didn't expect Bai Ningbing to say such words. No matter what you say or do now, I won't change my mind about wanting a divorce. Bai Ningbing's expression was indifferent. She said word by word, As long as I don't want a divorce, don't you dare think you can escape the identity of Mr. Bai. Arguing like this won't lead to any result. I didn't continue this topic. I don't want to talk about this anymore today. Let's go home. Seeing the impatience in my eyes, Bai Ningbing also felt a surge of frustration in her heart. She returned home in silence. I took the formal suit and went back to my bedroom. The next morning, as soon as I arrived at the company, I gave the formal suit to Chu Heng. Happy birthday. The moment Chu Heng saw the suit, his eyes lit up with surprise and joy. He caressed it, reluctant to let go. Is this really for me? Yeah, it was finished a while ago. I just hadn't picked it up yet. Chu Heng excitedly hugged me. Lin Feng, thank you. I'm going to wear this suit on my date tonight. I raised an eyebrow. You have a girlfriend? Yeah. A hint of shyness flashed in Chu Heng's eyes. When the time is right, they'll bring her to meet you. Seeing the happiness on Chu Heng's face, I was also a little curious. What kind of woman could make a man like Chu Heng fall in love? I was originally planning to treat you to dinner tonight. Since you already have a date with your girlfriend, let's do it another day. After Chu Heng left, I was about to look at some documents when the phone next to me suddenly rang. Lin Feng, the divorce papers. Ningbing has already signed them. Come to the old house now. I frowned. Yesterday, Bai Ningbing refused to get a divorce. How could she sign so quickly today? Did she really sign? The other end of the line paused for a few seconds before Bai Shuhan's mocking voice came through. Of course. Do I need to lie to you? I pursed my lips and said, okay, I'll be right over. After hanging up the phone, the person sitting next to Bai Shuhan, Lin Hao, said with some worry, Uncle Bai, is it not quite right for us to do this? If Sister Ningbing finds out about this, she will definitely be angry. Bai Shuhan's eyes were filled with coldness. You don't need to worry. After she and Lin Feng get divorced, even if she's really angry, there's nothing she can do. I am her biological father. Could she possibly disown me? Last night, he called Chen Shumin back, exaggerating the story of me hiring a female model, wanting Chen Shumin to force Bai Ningbing to divorce me. Unexpectedly, Chen Shumin, on the contrary, scolded him instead, saying this was a matter between the two of them. Tell him not to meddle. Bai Shuhan was so angry he couldn't sleep all night. An unfaithful man like me, he wouldn't let me stay by Bai Ningbing's side. Half an hour later, I walked into the living room of the Bei family's old residence. The two people who were laughing and talking saw me, and the smiles on their faces vanished. Bai Shuhan jutted out his chin, saying with a contemptuous expression, the divorce agreement is on the table. After you sign it, you will no longer have anything to do with Ningbing. I walked straight to the table, picked up the divorce agreement, and flipped to the last page. As expected, I saw Bai Ningbing's signature on it. I picked up the pen and couldn't help but look at Bai Shuhan to confirm one more time. Is this Bai Ningbing's signature genuine and valid? Bai Shuhan let out a cold laugh. Of course it's real. I don't need to use a fake signature to trick you. Good. Seeing me sign my name without hesitation, Bai Shuhan felt a little uncomfortable. Shouldn't I be hesitant to sign? Why do I seem so relieved, as if a burden has been lifted? To avoid any unforeseen complications, I said directly, I will take the divorce agreement to the Civil Affairs Bureau to have it notarized now. As soon as I finished speaking, Bai Shuhan spoke coldly. I'll go with you. To prevent you from pulling any tricks behind my back. I didn't refuse. Okay. Leaving the Bai family's old residence, Bai Shuhan saw the Lamborghini parked at the door and couldn't help but frown. Did Ningbing buy this car for you? If you're divorced, you can take this car with you. I didn't expect Bai Shuhan to be this absurd. Not to mention this car is mine, even if Bai Ningbing had bought it for me. I've taken care of Bai Ningbing for 3 years. Is asking for a car too much? Lin Hao, standing beside him, was red-eyed with anger, looking at me with jealousy. That's right, brother. Are you getting a divorce just to keep taking advantage of Sister Ningbing? Later, when he marries Bai Ningbing's money will also be his money. Therefore, he absolutely wouldn't let me take this car. I glanced at them coldly and said with an indifferent expression, I'm afraid I'll have to disappoint you both. This car has nothing to do with Bai Ningbing. You'll wait for you at the Civil Affairs Bureau. After speaking, I decisively got in the car and left. Bai Shuhan and Lin Hao were left behind to eat my exhaust. After arriving at the Civil Affairs Bureau, I waited for over an hour, but Bai Shuhan and Lin Hao still hadn't arrived. A flash of impatience crossed my eyes, and I decided to go get it notarized myself. Just as I got out of the car, a black Maybach stopped right in front of me. My pupils contracted, and I subconsciously tightened my grip on the divorce agreement in my hand. The next second, the back door of the Maybach opened, and Bai Ningbing stepped out, walking towards me with an icy expression. Her eyes held a fury like an approaching storm. As Bai Ningbing approached, I could only feel the surrounding temperature plummeting. She was furious. To be precise, I had never seen Bai Ningbing this angry. After stopping in front of me, Bai Ningbing let out a cold laugh. You've gotten bold, daring to come to the Civil Affairs Bureau on your own to notarize the divorce agreement. Even an idiot like me would know this was something Bai Shuhan did behind Bai Ningbing's back. Somehow, Bai Ningbing found out, so she was the one who came. I hid the divorce agreement behind my back and looked straight into Bai Ningbing's eyes without flinching. Miss Bai, are you here to get it notarized with me? Seeing my small action, Bai Ningbing's eyes were filled with coldness. Lin Feng, even if you have the divorce agreement with my signature, as long as I don't agree, you can get out of this marriage. My hand clenched involuntarily. What will it take for you to agree to a divorce? Do I really have to sleep with another woman? Bai Ningbing was so angry she laughed. Every word she spoke seemed to be laced with frost. You can try, as long as you're not afraid that she'll have her family ruined because of you. I pursed my lips, knowing I wouldn't be able to get divorced today, and I didn't want to waste any more time here. If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving. Seeing the Lamborghini behind me, Bai Ningbing's gaze turned cold. Whose car is this? For the past few years I've been unemployed and I only recently started working. There's no way I could afford this car. I chuckled. It seems to have nothing to do with you, Miss Bai. After speaking, I didn't care how ugly Bai Ningbing's expression became. I just got in the car and drove away. Bai Ningbing watched the Lamborghini as it gradually disappeared from sight, her eyes narrowing unconsciously. Jing, go investigate who the owner of this Lamborghini is. I had just returned to the My Company building when I was stopped by Lin Zhen. Seeing the car I was driving, a flash of surprise crossed Lin Zhen's eyes. Xiaofeng, did Bai Ningbing buy this car for you to commute to work? He had already investigated it clearly. I was just an ordinary employee at and I probably took this job just to kill time. I didn't explain and said with a frown, Dad, what do you want? I didn't expect Lin Zhen to come all the way to my... Lin Zhen smiled with a gentle expression, and his voice was also very soft. I've been calling you these past few days but couldn't get through, so I had to come find you in person. Come home this weekend. Your grandparents miss you. I was silent for a few seconds, then looked at Lin Zhen and said, Got it. If there's nothing else, I'm going to work now. Then it's settled. On Saturday, I'll have the Lin family's driver pick you up. After Lin Zhen left, I turned and went into the company. In a flash, it was time to get off work in the evening. I didn't want to go home and face Bai Ningbing, so I stayed at the company to work overtime. It was past 10 p.m., and as I was preparing to leave, I suddenly received a call from Zhou Hang. Lin Feng, I'm so sad. Can you come be with me? Zhou Hang's voice was tinged with sobs. I quickly asked, Where are you? I'm on my way. After he named a club, Zhou Hang hung up. I rushed over in my car, my heart filled with doubt and worry on the way. Wasn't Zhou Hang supposed to be with his girlfriend celebrating his birthday tonight? When I arrived at the private room and saw the bottles scattered around the room, I couldn't help but frown. Zhou Hang was sitting in the corner of the sofa, hugging a bottle and crying. He looked absolutely miserable. I walked over and sat next to him, snatching the bottle from his hand. What's wrong? Where's your girlfriend? Perhaps the words your girlfriend triggered Zhou Hang as he immediately started crying harder. He choked out intermittently. That bitch, I dumped her. From Zhou Hang's story, I finally understood what had happened. Today, his girlfriend asked him out for a meal, and he thought she wanted to celebrate his birthday, but it turned out she wanted to break up with him. The reason was that her college first love had returned to the country, and she planned to get back together with him. After listening, I gently patted Zhou Hang's back. Don't be sad anymore. It's good that you saw this kind of scum for who she is. You'll meet someone better in the future. Zhou Hang cried until his eyes were swollen, but he still didn't forget to reach out and grab the bottle from my hand. Give me the alcohol. I want a drink. I placed the bottle to one side. Stop drinking. You're drunk. It'll take you home. No, I'm not drunk. I want to drink more. I didn't want to reason with the drunkard, so I just threw Zhou Hang over my shoulder and carried him out. After taking Zhou Hang home, just as I was about to leave, I suddenly realized my phone was missing. I thought back a bit. I probably left it in the private room. By the time I returned to the club, it was past 11. I went straight to the private room, and as soon as I pushed the door open, I saw a person sitting right in the middle of the room. It was a heavy-set woman, fiddling with a silver phone in her hand. I narrowed my eyes and walked up to the woman. Excuse me, miss. I'm sorry, the phone in your hand is mine. Could you please return it to me? Because of my appearance, everyone else in the room stopped to look at me. Everyone's eyes were watching a good show. It seems this man doesn't know who Sister Chen is. Otherwise, he wouldn't dare to be so arrogant. Seeing my face clearly, a flash of surprise flickered in Sister Chen's eyes. The man before her was much more handsome than those mediocre men she had met before. She looked at me with a lecherous gaze and said in a flirtatious tone, Hey, handsome, what proof do you have that this phone is yours? I said patiently, I can unlock this phone. Sister Chen chuckled softly, nodded and said, Fine, let's just say this phone is yours. But I'm the one who found it. If you want it back, shouldn't you pay a small reward? What reward do you want? It's very simple. Drink these 3 glasses of alcohol in front of you, and it'll give you the phone back. I lowered my eyes to look at the glasses on the table. Are you serious? Of course. I picked up a glass in front of me and drank 3 glasses straight. After putting the glass down, I looked at Sister Chen and said, Can I have my phone back now? Sister Chen smiled and handed me the phone. Thanks. I immediately turned to leave, but everyone in the room shared a tacit understanding. It seemed this man had become Sister Chen's prey tonight. Looking at my retreating back, the corners of Sister Chen's mouth lifted into a triumphant smile. She said to the person beside her, Get 2 people to follow him and bring him straight to my room. Not long after leaving the private room, I felt something was wrong. An indescribable heat was spreading through my body, making it almost impossible for me to stand steady. I leaned against the wall and was about to leave quickly when a voice suddenly sounded from behind. He's over there, get him! A cold glint flashed in my eyes. Very quickly, several large men surrounded me. One of them reached out to grab me and said with a sinister smile, Hey handsome, come with us. Just as his hand was about to touch me, I grabbed his wrist and forcefully executed a shoulder throw. The man let out a wretched scream and fell to the ground. The other 3 saw the situation wasn't good and rushed forward together. 1 minute later, everyone was on the ground groaning. I felt my body was also reaching its limit. My vision was gradually blurring. I forced my body to move forward quickly. After getting into the elevator, I pressed the button for the first floor by feel and leaned against the elevator wall, panting. The elevator doors opened again, and as I stepped out, I realized it wasn't the first floor. I frowned. If I went back now, I would probably run into those people. In front of me was a long corridor. I supported my body and moved forward. I don't know how long I walked. I only felt my consciousness gradually fading. Just as my body completely lost its strength and collapsed, I suddenly fell into a warm embrace.